Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Thursday, January 5th, 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, we have done it. We have done it. We will hit episode 300 tomorrow. That's going to be dope. Can you imagine that? 300 episodes of Hoop Spaces in just over 2 years. That's amazing, man. In reality, it's a season and a half, not even a season and a half. It's dope. It's dope. Shout out to everybody who's made this possible. Thank you for giving us any part of your day, whether it's a minute or an hour. We are appreciative. Big ups to all those out there on the West Coast and the Bay getting hit with the bomb cyclone. I hope y'all are safe. Lots of basketball to get to. So many games to get to. It's unbelievable, both in men's and women's college as well. We'll go over those scores and your reactions from last night. All right. Big problem today. Like, I was ready to publish the Substack of the Hoop Spaces review, and then for whatever reason, it wouldn't allow me to publish. So if you look up top, it's the very first tweet, right? Please like and retweet that one. Because normally we get the readers from the emails. About 80% of the people who have subscribed open it every day. And I was not able to put it out in email today. So I'm actually kind of annoyed by that. I'll get that also in the chat box down below. We'll get started in about 30 seconds. Peace to everybody. Good morning. All right. Good morning. 17 of y'all popping in here makes my day a success already. And want to thank each and every one of you for coming in. Usually it takes some time to build up a room, but you guys are here every day. And I just wanted to take a moment out and say thank you. It means a lot to me. Um, it's a rough day as well. Today is the anniversary of my mother's stroke. She ended up passing in the hospital later due to complications. But it's rough. I spent some time with my stepfather to help console him. So if you are out there with a relationship with your family and it's strained, I can understand. But we're all human, and time waits for nobody. And the more you wait for time, the less time you have. So reach out, say what's up, say I love you, try to get a convo going because in the end, uh, all you have is what you've been able to build, and you wouldn't be able to build any of it without your family first. That's how I was raised, and that's how I try to raise my son. It's complicated, but in the end, we're all human. And we all do love one another in our family, even the ones that we don't personally like. And I just want you to take some time. Mend the fence. It's definitely worth it. All right. Before I get the hands up to get the good mornings, it's a busy, busy day. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the men's and women's college basketball scores. They are not in this episode of the Hoop Spaces review. In full disclosure, I have to wake up about 4:45, 5 o'clock to finish writing the newsletter, and there's just not enough time to do men's and women's in there as well. I'm going to try to figure that out as we continue to grow. But right now, I'm probably at my limit. It would help, though, if you do want to see more content, to leave comments in the actual newsletter, as well as signing up for a subscription of support. Um, there's going to be some more content down the road, but I don't personally want to put anything behind a paywall. I don't really necessarily believe in paywalls in terms of creation of a community, right? But there are available paywalls, and I don't want to use it. And the only way that works is if the people who do sign up to support. And it's $5 a month or $50 a year. I want to go ahead and shout out CT Pittman down below for being the first to actually sign up. I appreciate the support. There's also a founders level. And that's supposed to be like this, big thing that I'm supposed to be able to offer, like behind the scenes access and stuff. But like, if you think about it, I do a 3 hour show. I try to do a daily newsletter. I've helped launch other people's shows. Don't really have a lot of time to add anything super special. But what I will say is what I've come up roughly is there's a video element to Substack that if you are a founder, if you want to be able to support at a higher level, that's 200. I will guarantee you a one-on-one video that will be published to Substack. That I think is what we'll end up doing for that. Um, More news to come as well later. We've a couple people reached out yesterday into doing some reaction videos to link up with Justin Patton, JP the franchise down below. So we're going to get that up and running. We're going to try to reach out to the current people that we have in our creator roster to see if they're ready to try to carve out 5 to 8 minutes for their reaction videos. And then the next thing up is we're going to go ahead and open up a section for writing as well. We'll be able to add it under a link into the newsletter, so it'll be distributed through the newsletter. The writing itself will go on to the website, which we are. It's hard. I am still trying to figure out exactly how I want the website. Once that is done, we'll have that up and running. Shout out to Evan Moore, who's reached out for interest about that. All right. Men's top 25. And ladies and gentlemen, the evil empire has fallen. Providence upset UConn 73-61. That is right. My distaste and animus towards the women's program also requires me to dislike the men's program, and the fact that they are a Big East squad against the Big East squad I personally like. It makes me happy. 73-61. Providence, the Friars, over the Huskies of UConn. Miami falls to Georgia Tech. We'll ask JF Cake about that because that's going to be pretty funny. 76-70, Georgia Tech, no longer a power in the ACC. So that game was kind of disjointed. Arkansas beats Missouri in a battle of top 25, 74-68 in Arkansas. North Carolina beat the other evil empire. That's right. Duke falls by 24. 22 points down in the first half at halftime. Absolutely incredulous. And I can tell you this, Mike Krzyzewski's not walking through those doors. Shout out to Jay the Wakanda for yesterday. TCU and Baylor, two Texas teams in the top 25, had a fantastic game, 88-87. If you did not watch this game, that's cool. I didn't catch it until maybe 5 minutes to go in the second half, and it was a back and forth affair. Like the first half was all Baylor, but TCU was running with them. The second half was all TCU, but Baylor was running with them. And it was a 1-point game in the end. Fantastic. Georgia upsets Auburn 76-64. Auburn likely to fall out of the top 25. Georgia possibly going to enter. And College of Charleston beat North Carolina A&T. And if you don't remember, we talked about this. They do this every 20 years or so. They end up getting a team, and the team is generally comprised of a whole bunch of people from South and Southern North Carolina, and they make their way to the tourney. And like if you look at College of Charleston all year, they've been pretty good in their wins, even going toe to toe with at the time number 1 ranked North Carolina. Shout out to Charleston. They were up 92-79, and then Iowa State beats Oklahoma 63-60 to round up your men's top 25. Women's side, St. John's falls to Seton Hall in an upset 72-51. St. John's will fall out of the top 25. Providence upsets Creighton. They too will fall out of the top 25, 79-75. Iowa State dominates West Virginia by 20, 70-50. And the Lady Jayhawks of Kansas, 12-1, climbing up to 25. They beat Texas Tech 77-59 at Allen Fieldhouse. All right. Now we'll go ahead and get up everybody this morning after I hit this button to do our first read of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for making any part of your day part of Hoop Spaces. We appreciate you. We are brought to you in season 2 by slamgoods.com. You can head over to slamgoods.com, and what you find is a treasure trove, a cornucopia, a collection of basketball greatness, right? Whether it is the covers of the magazines, the magazine itself, the apparel, or collectibles, you can find something for you and your fandom over at slamgoods.com. Use promo code HoopSpaces, save 15% off your entire purchase. And while you're out there, do me a favor and go check out our friends, the Pickup Card Game, and pick you up a copy for $25 plus 15% off using Hoop Spaces as the promo code. Again, promo code Hoop Spaces, save 15% off your entire purchase over at slamgoods.com. We are also brought to you by audiolabs.io. If you missed any of the show, you can head over to YouTube, catch the entire show unedited for context, powered by audiolabs.io. And shout out to Playback TV. We will be getting back on Playback this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Saturday and Sunday, we'll be hosting a live watch party covering the NBA. All right, there you go. We'll go around the horn here to say good morning. We will first start off with Justice, who has survived the bomb cyclone. Justice, good morning. Hope you're doing well.
Good morning, sir. It's not over at all. Oh, my bad. The last much. But it's not over. We have another storm coming in around 11 a.m. Or that's expected to make landfall again. So unfortunately, it is not over yet. So we're still. There's a couple of trees down here. There's a couple of roads that are flooded. I know. We're talking with my neighbors. The power is still out in some areas. So I do send a prayer out to those two people who are affected, and towards the city part of the Bay Area, the power is still out to this day. And they're hoping to get the power back on, but as of right now, we're. TJ's probably going to come up here and set them out. I know he's from the Bay Area too, but I do want to say a prayer to everybody who's affected with this, dealing with this. Not just the northern area, but across the world, because I know they affected the southern part of the United States first, and then they came over to northern.
Yeah, I remember living in NorCal in Sacramento the last year I lived there. Actually, we got hit with one, and the flooding persisted. Like it stayed out there for like 7 days because there's just nowhere to go. We'll go to Tiberius. That's TJ next, who's also out on the West Coast, and we will also give a huge Funk Flex Bomb shout out to Bryson, who's now a supporter. Appreciate your support, Bryson. Means a lot, especially coming from you, who yourself knows what this grind is like. Thank you so much. TJ, good morning. Hopefully you are safe as well.
Good morning, Chris. Yeah, we got hit pretty hard yesterday, and like Justice said, probably another wave coming in midday today. It's been a lot of flooding around, but people are maintaining. Shout out to my team, UNC, beating Wake Forest as well. You didn't mention that because we're not in the top 25, but hey, we'll be there pretty soon. That's all I got for right now.
There you go. There you go. I'm giving you a shout out for your UNC Tar Heels only because Duke lost, and I am here for it. Where's Anthony? I want Anthony. Where are you, Anthony?
He's sleeping.
Yeah. We'll go to Micah real quick. Micah, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Chris. How are you doing?
I'm well. I assume you are on break, which is good to our ears. How are you?
Right. Yeah, I'm on break. I go on break from 9 to 9:15. But yeah, everything's good. There's some great ball yesterday, Chris. To be honest, I wasn't really intending on watching any games, but there wasn't nothing interesting on TV, so I was like, well, I might as well be a better fan. So, but yeah, it is. I'll tell you what, it's crazy. I never would have believed there'd be 3 members of the Big 12 in the top 25. That's wild. Almost as wild as Sadiq Bey hitting the game winner with 1 second on the clock. Oof. But anyways, we'll talk about that. Good morning to you.
Good morning. And we will actually do probably a show, I think, next Wednesday. Really kind of starting to go into some of the college ball. We're getting close to March. Like that's how fast the sports year for basketball's happened. Like we were just in August making fun of the Brooklyn Nets. We were just in September making fun of the Brooklyn Nets. We were just in October making fun of the Los Angeles Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets. And now here we are, just 2 months away from March Madness. It's amazing. JF, your Miami Hurricanes are not the beast of the ACC that you proclaimed them to be. What are you saying? What do you have for an apology today?
Chris, 2 words: elite backcourt. Look, Chris, there's definitely an age difference when it comes to our backcourt and everybody else's. Experience matters, Chris. And when we took out Jabari Smith last year in the Auburn Tigers, that should have shown you that we came back with nothing to play. So we beat Notre Dame. We're in the top 15. Please be aware of us because our four-guard system is actually working. I don't know how, don't ask me, but it is working. Chris, we got an eviction papers today we got to give out. There's a garage that's taking about half a day to do oil changes. We need to take that mechanic out of here, Chris.
Ooh, that's nasty work. We'll get there because the Miami Heat, ladies and gentlemen, lost to Dennis Schroeder and the Los Angeles Lakers. Up on stage, Lakers fan.
Chris, I'm sorry. I'm not even. I'd rather you say Thomas Bryant in the Los Angeles Lakers.
Well, Schroeder had the game high, but Thomas Bryant, man, like he, you know what? Thomas Bryant has done this now 3 years. He did it once in LA. He did it once in Washington. He's now doing it once again in LA. He is tricking people into believing that he is a all-star caliber potential starting center. And I'm here for it because I want to see the young man succeed. But man, last night, no LeBron, no AD, no problem. Jada Wakanda, congratulations on the win that you did not want.
Good morning. No, I do want the wins because I just don't want New Orleans to get Victor Wembanyama or Scoot Henderson. So no, every Laker win is welcome, just for that alone. And I just wanted to tell everyone that Isaiah Stewart, and Killian Hayes for Danny Green, Xavier Tillman trade works. Just got to figure out the picks.
Yeah, you guys can't afford that trade. Isaiah Stewart, if Jakob Poeltl's going to go for 2 first, Isaiah Stewart is gonna cost more than that. Transforming his game from a brute rebounder to a brute rebounder who can shoot, and as somebody might suspect, probably the league's next best enforcer. I don't think like Dre got in his face. There's got to be some Warriors, like the players are like, yo, this not the dude. I don't know if y'all saw that, but like Dre is 6'6", 235. Isaiah Stewart looked like Lennox Lewis.
That was not technical, by the way. That shit was not technical.
We definitely got to talk about
That shit was
that.
not technical. They were ready to throw that.
Well, no.
Either way.
No, it was.
Either way, Isaiah Stewart needs to be a Grizzly. Either way.
It was because they had been warned previously, Justice. So it was a continuation of a warning.
Man. Let him play. God, we're going everything.
Oh, and by the way, breaking news. The Draymond Green podcast is back, baby. That's right. We're back for more free entertainment from yours truly, Draymond Green.
Hey, man.
Same Draymond Green that was going to get his ass whooped last night?
Show killer.
Chris, does that mean his coattail shop is going to open back up?
I don't know. We'll get to that. All right. Got a lot of games to go to. Let me get through these scores. What?
Chris.
What?
Anthony
What?
Anthony's here.
I saw Anthony. What happened?
Bro, what?
Hey, Anthony, Christian Leitner is not walking through that door, bro.
Yeah, so was Grayson Allen and walking through that door either.
We get there. You missed me doing the rundown of the college scores, man. I will give you the time you need to talk about Duke and how that loss to NC State happened. We're going to give some shout outs before we go through the scores. Shout out Malik Walker of the Rewind Pod. You need to catch up. She had a dope performance in episode covering JUCO. She's now moving to AAU. She's got a show lined up highlighting the original superstar, Dr. J. And I say that because nobody was doing what Dr. J was doing until Dr. J did it, right? Bernard King was close. You Knick fans, I'm giving Bernard King his credit, but Bernard King didn't star in Fish That Saved Pittsburgh. That was Dr. J. All right, we'll get into it with the Rewind Pod with Malika Walker. Make sure you shoot her a follow and check that out. Rails Pels of the Pels and Whistle podcast on the Believe Network is in the building. My man L.A. Brodus from Cleveland. Giddy off the 71-point performance from Donovan Mitchell is here. Jose of 77 Spaces in the building. Shout out to Fan Suzuki, Bleacher Mob Radio, who is just so down with sending Shea Gilgeous-Alexander as a starter, despite the fact they can't beat the Magic. We got 6 of the 12 in the building. Achilles heel Jasmine of Winsider, covering those Dallas Wings for the WNBA, is here as well, and so are you. And if you want to come on up, this is a great place to do it. We're not gonna bite. You know, you'll be okay. But if you can't,
Chris Food takes are horrible.
man, they're not. Like, they're absolutely not. Like, you think they are. And once again, I didn't bring up anything food. That was them, not me. If you can't come up, there's a chat box. Hit up the chat box. We'll be in there periodically, and we'll bring up some of the best that you put up in there. All right. Do me a favor, everybody. I wasn't able to publish it via email. Please retweet the review. I'm waiting for Substack to get back to me. It's really annoying. It was a good issue today. All right. Here are your scores from last night. The Grizzlies played the team from Charlotte in Charlotte, 131-107. The Suns lose to the Cavs, 88-90. The Cavs, it was a brutal game without Darius Garland because I think Donovan Mitchell was a little tired. The Suns are just struggle bussing without Devin Booker. Magic topped the Thunder 126-115 in SGA's return. No player for the Thunder had more than 4 assists. The Thunder only had 23. Just something's up. That's all I'm saying. The Sixers outlasted the Indiana Pacers behind Doc Rivers' brilliance, 129-126 in overtime. And all of you rolling your eyes, you must understand that Doc Rivers plays 4-on-5 offensively for at least 26 minutes a game. The fact that he's able to win, that's what's up. All right? That's another reason why Doc Rivers is a great coach. Name me another coach who's coaching a 4-on-5 offensive set every game. The Knicks, behind Jalen Brunson's career night, barely escaped the Spurs a second time, 117-114. The Bucks and Raptors took us back to 93 with the 104-101 overtime win. The Bulls shocked the Nets, 121-112. Nobody still believes in the Bulls. Nobody. Like, even Bulls fans. Excuse me. Timberwolves beat the Blazers 113-106. Pelicans over the Rockets 119-108. The Pistons Warriors tussle 122-119 with Sadiq Bey hitting the game winner. Lakers over the Heat. Dennis Schroeder 32, 112-109. And the Hawks stopped the Kings from lighting the beam 120-117. That game was really ugly if you watched it for Atlanta. They had 4 dudes in 20, but like the way they played was just nasty to watch. All right, we'll get into it first with the Dubs and Pistons. We'll go first to Justice here. Justice, go ahead. They'll go to Tiberius, and we'll close out with the victor, Akil, so he can talk his ish about how the Pistons win. Justice, the floor is yours.
I just want to say about my words. They played really hard. No, they gave a good fight. You know, it's real tough not having Curry out there. It's not really tough. You know, but it's a one game at a time. You know, I'm not expecting to look perfect, but Jordan Poole did have some mishaps that did caused me to roll my eyes, but I expect him to have a bounce back game.
Yeah, Jordan Poole, 24 points. This is his 7th consecutive game with 20 or more points. TJ, go ahead. What did you see from Golden State? And we got Akil ready to talk some stuff about the Pistons, who have Alec Burks and Sadiq Bey looking like a top bench pairing that might actually take away some tanking. that the Pistons might want to do. TJ, then Akil.
Yeah. Shout out to Alec Burks, a former Warrior. I don't know why we got rid of him, but
He sucks.
I think that this game was. I don't want to say it was a letdown game because we did not have our core group. But a shout out to Ty Jerome and number 40. They are the only players that were off the bench that did some sort of work. We fought hard, tooth and nail. Klay Thompson hitting a clutch three off a great out of timeout play. That tied the game. I don't know. Jordan Poole, I'm going to say that he tries to do a little bit too much during crunch time situations or very important possessions. There was a wet spot exactly where he fell, and I seen Sadiq Bey and somebody else I forgot after the game winning shot slip in the exact same spot. So I can't really necessarily say it was a bad turnover from Jordan Poole at the end. It just was just heartbreaking. Other than that, we're on to the next game. Streak ends at 5 games. It's just a tough loss. That's all it is. Shout out to the Pistons. Yeah, it was like 7 scores in double digits. And Isaiah Stewart in that little technical foul by Draymond Green was a very sound veterans like move by Stewart to get him baited into the second one. But it was all initiated by him. That's all I got. I guess I'll give Akil his gloating abilities and let him go off.
Listen, man. Listen. We're better than the Warriors this year. We beat them twice. That's all there is to it. Sucks to suck for them. We beat them twice. I don't know what else to say. All I feel like is I just come up here and sing Jalen Duren praises. But I mean, the bit continues. He had 18 and 11 last night. I think he chipped him.
Perfect 8 for 8.
Yeah, like he just doesn't really mess up much. Like he very much plays like he's been in the NBA for 10 years already, which I personally love. Once again, Bojan Bogdanovic, if anybody wants him, feel free. Just give me a first-round draft pick for him. That's all it takes. He was unleashed. I think he went 5 or 6 from 3, and I think he's at like above 50% from field too. I think he chipped in like almost 30 as well.
5 for 6 from 3, 66 from the field.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, 10 of 15. Nice. Killian Hayes chipped in 13 assists. He had 9 points. He played well, even though he wasn't really making jumpers. Like, he was still contributing to basketball positively. And then Alex Burks and Sadiq Bey, like, our bench has always been, like, our kind of, our thing, honestly. Our bench always comes in. They give us good production. I think Sadiq Bey's playing his way to try to get out of there and get a bigger role, which I absolutely respect. But yeah, it was just all around a very, very good team win. I was kind of doubting that we'd get in there and get a win right away, but I mean we did it. So yeah.
You guys have an issue though, right? Bey's gone, whether he's traded or in free agency because of the contract, right? He wants a larger contract, larger role. You'll get Killian Hayes back, but there's going to be a decision that's going to be needed to be made between Duren and Stewart, because even though Stewart has really elevated his range, took the second most threes last night, by the way, with 7. He and Duren aren't going to be able to, I think, coexist as effectively as they would individually. And that's actually more for Stewart than Duren, because Duren's going to lock up that center spot, right? So
Yeah,
if you were to trade Stewart, what would you want for him?
if I get rid of him, I want like, and these 4s are like a dime a dozen. But like the 4s that can kind of do a ton of things defensively, can stretch. It's like kind of what Isaiah Stewart wants to be, and like he's trying to be this here, but he actually does all of those things. But once again, like those 4s don't walk on trees, and those 4s are all making $150 million a year. So like you kind of have to draft those dudes. So yeah, kind of like a 4 that can guard the perimeter, kind of get out there, switch a little bit more, hit some threes, do some of that stuff. But those guys are just hard to find. You got to draft well and hopefully like develop that. But like that would be like the ideal dream.
And give us your, 30, or actually, I think, you're 11 and 30, right? Yeah, you're 40 halfway through the season-ish, actually.
We're in a good spot, man. We're in a good spot. Who knows, man? Maybe we get like a nice little Wemby to pair with Jalen Duren, maybe, that'd be nice. But nah, that probably won't happen. Yeah, we're losing, and I like how we're losing. And it's fun because I keep seeing flashes of different guys while we lose, and that's kind of what you want as a tanking team, right? Like you want to see your guys get better and also lose at the same time. So I'm happy over here. I'm
Right.
very happy.
We've got go ahead, Jay.
So
That ain't
Killian
gonna happen.
Hayes, Isaiah Stewart. What did it take on the Grizzlies roster to make that happen?
For Killian Hayes
and Isaiah Stewart. That's the killer part. He's trying to add in Isaiah Stewart.
I don't know, like David Roddy, and Tyus Jones. I'm not getting Jones out of that.
Well, of course that's done. We're not even getting to the. We're not getting to the pick stuff, man. Like Jay's just over
here.
Give
me a pick too. Give me a pick.
It's going crazy.
Yeah, pick. Done.
Yeah, give me a couple of picks actually. Like give me 2 first-rounders.
2 first-rounders. So how about Golden State's 2024 and the Grizzlies 2025? Does that work?
Yeah, and then throw in somebody that's like actually kind of young and fun too on top of that, and then that's it. We got our deal.
Yeah, instead of Roddy, can I do Jake LaRavia?
Fuck no. I'm sorry.
Appreciate the catch, Shaquille. Yeah, but the sentiments was here too. It's Roddy or bust, right?
Yeah, Roddy would be fun. I mean, do you want to throw me Zaire Williams? I'll take it. Like that's cool.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
But David Roddy would probably be the guy that I need to get that done.
All right, let me get these other hands up here. We'll go to Micah first, then we'll hit up Vaughn, and then we'll go to Bonkai. We're talking Pistons Warriors. After this, we're going to go ahead and pop in another game into the deck. Appreciate everybody. Micah, 30 seconds, go.
Man, you just can't take these young teams lightly. They got talent, and they just haven't found a way to be consistent. But if you take them lightly, they'll beat you. And other than that, but with the Warriors, like you've been saying, Chris, West let them float around, and you're about to drop an all-star defensive forward and probably a top 5 player onto a 500 team. So it's still scary. There's still going to be a problem. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. Andrew Wiggins is coming back soon. Steph is going to come back. They are above 500. It's looking rather nasty out there. 6 to the 12, I got you up. As soon as I get a spot, we'll go next to Vaughn. Vaughn, 30 seconds.
Good morning, everyone. Except the Phoenix Suns. You already know the hate is real on this side. So anyway, I just want to all the games were really good last night. Especially that Warriors game, man. I know you guys already talked about that a little bit. But it's crazy how, Draymond feels like he's that same old enforcer. But the way Isaiah Stewart is, man, he showed a lot. Well, he already showed since the time he got into the league, he's an enforcer. So this goes to Ali. I think I don't know if I butchered your name wrong, bro, but I would like to have a trade, man, for Isaiah Stewart to come to the Clippers. You feel me? The greatest underdog team in the league. You feel me? I can't wait when that chip goes up for you Warriors. You know what I'm saying? But you know how it is. But I would like to make a trade for Isaiah Stewart.
Can you give me Nick Batum?
Knicks will win a chip before y'all.
Why are you wanting Nick Batum?
Wait,
Nick Batum's like 34. What are you doing?
Hey, Nick Batum, no. Hey, Nick Batum is kind of clutch. I'm not trading. I'm really trying to trade Marcus Morris, bro.
Yeah,
I'm really
like
trying to get this man.
all Vaughn is gonna do is give you a Marcus Morris trade. There ain't nothing else he trying to give
Hey,
up
hey,
on
well,
Marcus
what about
Morris.
this? What about this? What about this? I know my 30 seconds about to be up. What about
Or
John Wall
it's been
for a
up
second round pick?
actually. Like 30 seconds is fast, bro. Like
John
But
Wall.
all right, John Wall, and a second round pick for
yeah,
Isaiah Stewart.
nah. We
I'm
moving on,
hanging
ladies
up
and
the
gentlemen.
phone.
Yeah, we are moving on to Bankai. Bankai, good morning.
Oh,
Dun, 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 dun,
Well, look, my finger was like right there
dun.
too. I'm like, oh man, I saw the mic go open, but you weren't talking. You still almost caught it. What's up?
Ha! I made it. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to my Nick fans, Anthony, Breeze, Knicks take Jake, Rels Pels. I see you're not a Nick fan, but still, dope. I was just gonna say,
Man, you could tell the Knicks won. Listen to his voice.
yeah, but so the Warriors lost like last night to the Pistons on the Sadiq Bey last second shot, right? So was hashtag ... right or wrong about that one? I don't know. The Lakers won last night. They beat the Heat. Was hashtag ... right or wrong about
What's the
that
point with
one
this?
too? I don't know.
he's
Hashtag ... is
He's
always
throwing
right, but
The
shade,
it
hell's the
bro.
seems
point
to
with
be
this?
that he was
he's
wrong
he's
that one.
going
These Knicks fans.
he's taking
nasty
shots.
work today.
These
Nasty
Nasty.
what?
Knicks
He's
fans.
not even
He's
here.
He's
throwing
not even in
shade,
the room.
bro.
Ridiculous. This is crazy.
He's throwing
Well,
shade.
isn't hate always present? Apparently.
You
I,
gotta wait, man. You gotta at least see if he's in the room, man. He can't defend himself.
well, I don't know. I'm not taking any crazy shots. I'm just saying hashtag ... It's always right.
Say hi to say hi to
wrong?
Bianca. Like she's over there. She's dealing with
Oh,
you.
she's actually right here.
She's
Yeah,
dealing with you. I
up
know,
in a very good mood today. Lots of energy.
This is ridiculous.
Let
right?
one know the Knicks won.
Right? You should get him to paint the house.
No, please no.
Oh, never
Oh, no.
mind. I'll
Because it's
take
gonna
that back.
be orange and blue, and then my color.
Well, no. You buy the paint, and then you just make him paint.
He'll just mix it somehow to make it orange and blue.
Oh, all right. I believe you. All right.
Yep.
Let's go to Jasmine. If Jasmine wants to hop in here and talk some quick Warriors, if she caught the game, we'll also hit up JF if he wants to bring in something. If not, we're going to move on to the Grizzlies and Hornets, the team in Charlotte with the terrible owner. Jazz, you got anything?
No, I was
Really,
holding.
we know you do. Go ahead. Sorry,
Oh no,
Jasmine.
you're okay. I was just saying I'm holding out for the Raptors game and the Lakers game.
All right, those will be
Hey,
coming up
Jazz,
next.
do you want Sadiq Bey down there in Dallas?
Say that one more time.
Do you want Sadiq Bey down there in Dallas?
Who's a Dallas fan?
So you can not get the ball?
She's
I
not
thought
a
you.
Mavs fan.
Nah.
Oh, you're not a Mavs fan?
Chelsea
Damn,
fan.
damn,
Chelsea.
damn. Where's Jose at? I gotta talk to Jose. Where you at?
hey,
That's
how
crazy.
about I give you Marcus Morris?
We are off the rails. We're not even an hour in the show. I feel as though everybody woke up hungover, and instead of drinking water and taking a shower, they had another drink. Like, this is
Chris,
bad.
can I propose a new rule before you take everybody off of mute?
What's the new rule?
Can people put trades through Trade Machine before popping up with these ridiculous trades? How to trade?
No, because then we'll spend half the time trying to explain why their trade is wrong, and that's not my job. I can't do that.
Trade Machine, if it doesn't pass through the Trade Machine with picks, the Fanspo one, if it doesn't go through that one, then they can't propose a trade.
Well, some of the Fanspo trades won't go through right now because there's still time on certain people's contracts, and
There needs to be like a rule, because some of these trades is like, come on, guys, y'all know that's not happening.
Oh, it's bad on the timeline. Like, there was one trade from the Lakers fan, and I was just sitting here like, I can't even retweet that. And like, I people send me pictures of nasty food, and I tweet that, but I saw that trade, and I was like, nah, bro.
Okay, I guess there's no way. We still got to hear the ridiculousness. Okay,
it's horrible. Shout out to your Charlotte professional basketball team.
No, not this year. There's no need to talk about that team today or for the rest of the year. It's just a wrap. Like, it really is. Just play the young guys. Give those young guys some playing time. I don't even care if it's blowouts, so they can work on their defense on the NBA floor because they're not going to get that, that side as much in the G League. Just play them, see what you got. I mean, this season is shot. It is what it is. They'll win some things, but they'll stay in that bottom four. It is what it is. I'll be happy with anybody in the top 8 because it's a deep draft. Anybody in the top 8 to 10 is going to be a starting level player. Period.
So this game was so bad, ladies and gentlemen, that every Grizzly player scored that took a shot. Every Grizzly player played.
So are we saying they're not a dynasty yet?
No, what we're saying is that only one player didn't take a shot for the Memphis Grizzlies, and he played 4 minutes. Every other player took a shot and made one.
It was glorious, Chris.
It really was
enjoyed
awful.
it.
There's nothing really to discuss with this game. It's because it was awful.
It was very bad, but there's some things to discuss.
Like, the Hornets are like a league team right now. AAU, not an NBA level. They don't.
Anthony's got something. Anthony, give yourself 10 seconds what it is, and then we'll go to Jay and Mike to break down this Grizzlies beatdown.
The fact that people got mad at John Morant for holding the ball in the backcourt is just some funny ass shit last night. I was like, bro, I just be mad at John Morant for any goddamn little thing now. Chill out, y'all. Shit. Please. It's annoying. Really fucking annoying.
All right. Jay, the Wakanda tech support, go ahead, and then we'll pick up Mike breaking down the Grizzlies beatdown of the Charlotte professional basketball team. It was bad. It was real bad.
Oh,
it was glorious. Too. It was glorious. I don't understand why y'all didn't enjoy this game. I enjoyed this game wire to wire.
Because you're a Memphis fan. That was terrible. The Hornets do not look like a professional basketball team.
They are a professional basketball team.
They look awful. Like they look absolutely awful.
Like she really wants to get off this game. Like the fastest way to get off this game is to let them talk about it.
Why is Michael Jordan such a bad owner?
Everybody needs to be.
Whoa! Let's
bring up the.
We are still just off the rails, ladies and gentlemen.
Bring up the G League team and sit them up, sit their asses on the bench and send them down to the G League.
Malika does not want to talk the Charlotte professional basketball team. Everybody.
That's like LaMelo on defense is like a damn turnstile. He doesn't help either with these negative ass plus minuses. Like just go,
I thought you were done. You said you were done. You said you were done with the Hornets.
I'm done now. I'm going on mute. But it was awful. And I'm not watching another game. I don't care if they win this year. This next year, I'll return to watching only the wins again because I don't watch.
Everybody, make sure you send out some positive vibes to Malika because both the Charlotte professional basketball team and her Brooklyn Nets lost.
No, the Nets. No, I'm not crying over the Nets. I'm not worried about the loss last night with the Nets. Like
I'm just saying, like the negativity is definitely seeping into the coffee this morning.
Malika, at this point, Duke can beat Charlotte Hornets right now.
Oh, stop it, Anthony! Stop.
Duke can beat them.
Wait! Don't let them get
away. Duke can't even beat NC State.
What? No. We're not going there. What happened last night with Duke last night? What was that?
Man.
What's that?
I just want to get through this Grizzlies game. Let's go, Jay and Mike. Let's get through this Grizzlies game.
Here's what I don't understand. Do the Hornets own their own first rounder? Like if they're in the lottery or top 10 is okay. So here's the thing. Isn't this not a generational draft class?
It is.
Did anybody think the Hornets were going to make a deep playoff run?
No.
So isn't Mike doing what we all would want our owner to do with a mediocre team that isn't really going anywhere? I'm not saying the tank is pretty.
I will say injuries. They've been injury prone all season. At least two starters have been out all season.
You got to let them finish, Malika.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying the tank is pretty. I'm not saying the tank has a turtle wax wax job and it's been polished and it's shiny. But this is a magnificent league-leading tank job for a generational draft class. I'm not saying that this was purposeful, but what I am saying is Mike is doing a better job of securing the best mathematical odds to get Victor Wembanyama than
But
anybody else in the
Oh,
do
league.
you
shut up.
hear how do you hear how you said that though? You said it that he basically stumbled his way like
Hey,
an idiot into leading the tank.
hey, listen. I'm an engineer. Okay, either you're passing or you're failing, and right now he's passing.
All right, you can't pass by failing, but we're gonna pass the
Not
mic to
true.
Mike.
It's not
Yeah,
true. How else do you
Mike,
get
Bro,
generational talent in the NBA?
hop in here and sing some
Chris,
Grizzlies
bro,
goodness.
you don't understand how frustrating it is because I tune in like pretty much every day. It's just usually I'm at work or I'm on dad duty. I'm on dad duty right now. But man, like the thing about watching that Hornets game last night, man, like I can't, like he was saying, like I can't.
Wait. We cannot call them the Hornets. They are the Charlotte professional
Charlotte
basketball
professional
team.
basketball team. My thing is like, bro, like watching the game, like I can't tell what they're trying to do. Like, I think it was about a month ago. We went to Oklahoma City. There was no Giddey, no Shea, and they completely dismantled us. Ja got ejected in the first half, but like a game that you think a tanking, well, I don't even know if the Thunder are tanking at this point, but a team that you think is about to go out there and like literally not give anything came out and knocked us out. And those are the games that the Grizzlies usually kind of slip up on, at least this season. So I was thinking, man, like maybe Charlotte's going to come out, throw some blows, but I couldn't, like I was watching the game
They
and
threw some
I
blows,
could
all
not
right.
understand what was happening because they would like not hustle back on the other end of the floor, but then I would see them get frustrated by a call the next play. I'm like, dude, are y'all playing? Or are you like, and then the whole 8 second, the whole Ja letting the ball roll up the court. The man does it every game. The man does it every single game. These dudes do scouting reports. Like, this man is gonna let the ball. I'm not even a Charlotte fan, but it was frustrating. I'm like, bro, what are they doing? Like, I could not.
It was bad.
But my thing is, I don't know if it's true, but I saw a report that even Steve Clifford was talking about the team. Like, I don't know. Like, bro, if the coach is just,
That sounds like Steve Clifford.
but I mean, like, I don't know I don't. If it's a tank job, then I guess they're doing a good job of. I don't know. Like, I wish I had more to say,
All
but
right.
I don't know. I don't know.
I want to
Plenty more to say.
I want to give a shout out to Vince Williams Jr., ladies and gentlemen, from VCU, second round pick, 47th overall, 4 minutes, 0 points, and still was more impactful than 9 players from the professional basketball team from Charlotte.
That's another thing. Is like I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen Melo play in a minute. Except for like
it looked bad.
He looked bad. Like I'm not even saying that
he looked bad.
Dude, I know a lot of Grizzlies fans on this app are starting to get a little kind of but I'm not being negative. I just watching LaMelo play, I felt like I was watching Chino Hill's LaMelo. Like I did. Like the shot selection wasn't there. Even though he was in a slump, he wasn't looking to move the ball. If they were trying to lose, then I understand it. But bro, he just kept shooting. He was trying to shoot himself out of a slump and it just was not working. I don't understand a lineup with DSJ, LaMelo, and
Rozier.
You said what?
Rozier.
Yeah, Rozier.
We talking about Rozier?
Why are all three of them on the floor at the same time?
Who else was they gonna play? Like wrap it up, Jay, because we're gonna move on. We've grilled Malik Aziz to the horribleness of the Charlotte professional basketball team enough.
But man, I never get to vouch for my Grizzlies on here, man. I'm always doing something. Shout out to the Grizzlies. We run our mouths a lot, but we try to back it up. So hey.
It's good. It was a good game for the Grizzlies. Jay, 30 seconds.
No, Ja, if you're paying attention to Ja is learning how to manage the game better and better and better. And I don't know what coach is responsible for that. I'm going to give Taylor Jenkins credit because he's the head coach. But the way Ja is managing, getting his teammates involved, feeling the tempo of the game, and then slowing the game down by attacking the rim and hitting his floater in mid-range so he's not hitting the floor as much. Ja is starting to become a masterful point guard. So shout out to Ja Morant.
I'm gonna slip in one more thing real quick. My bad. Shout out to Dillon Brooks.
Go ahead.
Dillon Brooks is getting so much better at facilitating that ball and making smarter decisions on the offensive side of the floor. Shout out to Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks slander is not tolerated.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah,
I agree with that
okay.
as well.
In 1 week, we'll be back to slandering Dylan Brooks because Dylan Brooks will be
Yeah,
Dylan
I'm
Brooks, and we know
absolutely
this.
saying
Facts.
Like,
But in this moment, Dylan Brooks has been phenomenal in the
you know,
last 2 weeks.
hold on to it. Take a picture of it. Put it in your wallet because it's going away. Let me clear these hands out.
He's a light-skinned Grayson Allen.
Oh, jeez, stop
Whoa.
it! Stop it! Stop it!
We need to talk
What?
about Grayson Allen. I'm ready for that conversation.
We're
Oh,
getting.
no,
Well, I'm
no, I'm ready
trying.
to-
I'm
I'm ready to
trying,
defend
but
his
like
honor.
nobody wants to go. They just want to keep talking about the Hornets. Like we're
We're
done.
not, Chris. You want to keep talking about the Hornets. Just move on.
I do not want to talk about the professional basketball team of Charlotte. I want Micah to talk and then JF, and then we'll move on. Micah, go ahead.
I'm not trying to beat a dead
Oh,
horse.
Micah, not Mike. Micah.
Oh, I'm Micah too.
There we go.
Shit, my bad.
Oh, I thought you were
No,
Mike.
I mean I'm Micah. I just it looks cooler.
Hey, yo.
Micah's in the building.
Hey, man. I feel you, man. Hey, I shorten my name too sometimes. But anyways, man, so real quick, as far as MJ, we had the same conversation about Jason Kidd and Steve Nash not being able to draw up plays. John Elway, he can't pick a quarterback to save his life. And it's just, I don't think that these all-time generational talents realize the fact that nobody is like them. So,
All right.
you know,
That noise is killing us, Micah. It's too loud. JF, 30 seconds. Then we're going to move off of the Charlotte professional basketball team. We'll give some shout outs down below because there's a dude down below who runs a dope podcast that I want to definitely highlight so y'all can take a listen. JF, 30 seconds. Go.
Yeah, Chris, we just got to give Jordan credit. He did change the name from the Bobcats to the Hornets, back to the Hornets. I mean, they haven't been relevant since Baron Davis put on the jersey. He's been picking a lot of bad draft picks like Adam Morrison, just to name a few. But I think LaMelo's not the guy that everybody expects him to be. I think he needs somebody else. And what's up with PJ Tucker? Is he available?
Yo, anybody
not
can have
PJ Tucker. PJ Washington. Sorry.
He's actually played himself to probably be unavailable unless you want to put a player in a pick out there. All right. That's it. We're done talking Charlotte professional basketball teams because it's just
Thank
bad.
you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Now on to a game that was even worse. The Toronto Raptors and the Milwaukee Bucks scored 39 and 38 respectively by halftime. And they went on to score, a whopping amount to get to overtime. Like, this game was so bad that actual verified members of paid media that cover the Toronto Raptors, were done with the team. It was that bad. 104-101, your score. Bucks over the Raptors. Giannis, 30 points, 21 boards, 10 assists. There was a whole rack of misses, except for Grayson Allen, who managed to make two important shots. The game winner and the nut shot. We'll go there next. Jasmine's been waiting for this one. We'll go to her first. We will then go around the room to get everybody's thoughts and opinions. Jasmine, you are up.
I more so want to listen and respond to what everyone has to say, but I will say, no disrespect to Raptors fans, but living in Florida, I'm glad that I don't get to watch your games because you guys actually have a lot of talent on the floor, but it doesn't come out until it's crunch time or the final 2 minutes of the game. Somehow the refs got the Raptors back into it and they were able to profit off that and go into overtime, which was cool and everything. But I think that the Raptors have to be more aggressive from the start instead of waiting until the final minute when their backs against the wall trying to get points in the final seconds. Because I think they have a lot more talent, but they're just not utilizing it in the right way. And I'm not a defender of Grayson Allen. He is from the Jacksonville area, so I take a lot of pride in watching his game and things like that. However, he has had some questionable moments in the past with him fouling players or just committing different like egregious calls and things like that. But I think that last night, that flagrant call that he got, it was very unnecessary. I didn't see Grayson doing anything out of regular basketball play, but we can definitely discuss it if anybody saw anything different.
Yeah, we'll
He
get.
didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing.
Yeah, well, he did.
He didn't do nothing. They called him flagrant.
He
And
flopped
he hit
more
the
than
corner three.
anything,
What are
man.
we talking about?
Well,
He flopped more than
no,
anything.
he did, and we'll get into that because what he didn't do was do a flagrant contact foul. Right, that was the issue. I think they did a bad job of explaining it. The foul for that move to the flagrant was that he impeded the landing spot of the shooter and made physical contact. That's from what I understand. So the way the rules have changed for the shooters to allow for better protection for them to land on their jump shot. And if you look at it, when he had made contact, which was going to be a nominal regular foul, and he probably would have went to the line, he had actually taken away some of the landing spot. And you see that as he kicks his knees up after he's hit, they still count the fact that the natural motion would have been him coming down on the jump shot. That's what I understand it as it was explained to me by somebody who actually watches the referees. I want to take this time to give a shout out to the Dunk Tales podcast. It's one of the best podcasts you can listen to covering all things NBA in a non-pretentious, just regular, matter-of-fact, fun way. It's Snotty Drippin' and JP, the wholesome truth teller. You can catch it on the 19 Media Group down below on Apple Podcasts and all places where your podcast pod. It's dope. Like these guys do something that inspired me to want to actually talk basketball the way that I talk basketball. Like that, I've been listening to them off and on because I listen to a lot, and I want you to go ahead and take a listen to two real creative geniuses, talk ball and life. So make sure you check out the Dunk Tales podcast hosted by JP, the wholesome truth teller, and Snotty Drippin'. Also in the building, I want to shout out one of the best Clippers fans in the building, Ricky Chews here. I hope you and the little one are doing great. I enjoy seeing you pushing other people's cars that die because you're an awesome man, because you ain't going to see me doing that. My back hurts. 101, 104, Raptors lose to the Bucks. We will go next to Jay the Wakandan JF. We'll get Sean with a W up here, and we'll get his thoughts on the Knicks getting ready to come up after this game. And then Vaughn has his hand up. Appreciate it, everybody. Jay, go ahead.
Yeah, this game was a tribute to Big Ten basketball, and I don't mean that as a compliment. A lot of bricks, a lot of just. I spent this game wondering why Scotty doesn't shoot open jumpers. Scotty Barnes, I don't know where his confidence is going. I don't know where his swag is going. And he still attacks the rim, right? And sometimes he uses slow closeouts as a runway to the rim to collapse the defense and either take the shot and pass out. So that's not the issue. The issue is that his rookie year, he used to like getting to the elbows and rising up for a jumper. And he just doesn't do that. And I don't know if it's the ankle injury. I don't know if it's the knee injury. I don't know what it is. But that's concerning to me going forward. Everything else about the Raptors could be solved by trading for Plumlee from the Charlotte professional basketball team so they could rebound better. And that's about it for the Raptors.
Yeah, I floated that out there, and then they laughed because Plumlee can't move his feet on defense. But the Raptors cannot rebound, as evident that they were almost out rebounded by 30, 73 to 47.
Bro, it's bad. Because, like, Plumlee only played, like,
How do
23
you give
minutes
us
in that game that
73?
we're not allowed to talk about anymore, but he still has double-digit rebounds.
Like,
Like, he's the
you
reason
want to
why
know
Steven
how
Adams didn't get to 20. Like,
you want to
he
know
was
how
just scared.
bad Toronto rebounding is? This is how bad Toronto rebounding is. Giannis, Brook Lopez, and Bobby Portis. Those three players out rebounded the Raptors by 3.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
I had the Raptors as a top 6 seed. I'm lost. This is bad. We'll go to JF, then Vaughn, then Mike. We'll get Sean's thoughts. We'll move on to some Knicks talk after we talk a little bit of Grayson Allen. His reputation precedes him. I think it was unwarranted contact. I don't necessarily think it was dirty. I think the flagrant one. I don't like the way they call the foul in terms of allowing the shooter to land. I think it takes away and restricts the defensive player's ability to play defense aggressively. And last year that wouldn't have been a call, like a flagrant call. Would have just been a regular foul, which is what I would have been more happy with, right? Like we can all agree to that, I think. But that's really where the flagrant foul came from. JF, you're up. Then Mike, then Vaughn.
Yeah, Chris. I think first things first. I think anything Grayson Allen does is a flagrant foul. The guy, he's been dirty since college days. Like he's just one of those dudes. And why do they have him as one of the star players? Like they advertise him a lot over there in Milwaukee. Don't they have Giannis and everybody else? But moving on to Toronto, Chris. Like this is a team that makes me happy. Just because a lot of expectations were coming out of their way. With a lot of talented players that they drafted and went through the process. But as long as that team's not doing good and my team that has undrafted free agents doing better, I'm okay with that. But I did hear a story about Nick Nurse holding a team meeting, and it didn't go over so well. Like, do you think that's probably one of the causes, Nick Nurse? Because you think his time might be up over there?
I think if his time is up, it's gonna be a regrettable decision. Like I like Nick Nurse, man. I like him as a coach. I do. I think he's a phenomenal strategist. I think the issue is he's got the young Thibodeau in him, and the league doesn't want a young Thibodeau where you're just going to be gruff to be gruff to be gruff. And he's just been gruff, and the players I think are kind of tuning him out. Like remember, this wasn't the only time they've had issues. Pascal kind of had a back and forth with him last season, right? And I think sometimes you can get that hard charging drill sergeant, and people can tune them out. And believe it or not, it usually only takes a singular event, and then you get a cascading effect of the players collectively tuning them out. That Scotty Barnes thing, though, like I wasn't trying to tell the future, but like that MCW tweet, that's just starting to come true. It's like he has a wall in front of him he cannot get over in terms of shooting, and it's hindering Toronto. I would almost rather see Pascal Siakam do 25, 26 shots a game like Luka.
And Chris, when we look at it, coaches and players have, disagreements all the time, and you can definitely see it, especially from the Heat. It's always publicized. But what's the difference between Spoelstra getting over it? Because Spoelstra looks soft to me. I ain't gonna lie to you. Spoelstra looks soft, but he gained his respect. You get what I'm saying? But how is it that they're able to overcome, and teams like the Toronto are not overcoming, even with the championship belt under their title with the majority of the team there?
Well, that's an interpersonal issue. Like that's every workplace will have its squabbles. More than likely, Eric Spoelstra is just better at navigating the personalities. Right? Pat Riley has molded him, mentored him. He's got his trust. Nick Nurse was hired. There's a difference, right? So the players in Miami automatically go in knowing that the relationship between the coach and the front office is completely different than most places in the league, right? Like they have a different standard of fitness. They have other off-court requirements that other teams don't have, and it's something you sign up for when you go to Miami. So you're already buying in to Miami. Toronto's a fantastically ran organization. What I think, though, is that Nick Nurse is not as adept dealing with personalities and conflict because he doesn't have a de-escalation ability. That's how I see it.
So he doesn't know how to deal with a Florida boy?
Well, no, it's more than a Florida boy, but sometimes those Florida boys are a problem. Like, just look at the news. Like, Florida man is in the news almost every day.
I'm not disagreeing.
We're gonna put some respect on Florida. Like, that's not what we're doing today.
Well, tell me that I'm wrong. I mean, like,
We're
there was a dude.
not doing that this morning.
There was a dude in Florida who went to jail for like trying to rob an ATM, right? But it wasn't that he was trying to rob an ATM. It was how he was trying to rob an ATM. Like, that's all I'm saying.
Y'all have to know the different parts of Florida to understand where these Floridians are coming from.
No, they all.
It's the whole state.
Thank you, Josh.
Oh no! By the way, like no, because there are pockets of good people. Like there's a couple of suburbs in Jacksonville. Like there's a spot in Toronto. I'm not Toronto, Tampa. They're cool, right?
Tampa. What spot in Tampa, Chris?
Over by Eglin. Over by the Air Force Base.
Walker, big up yourself.
There you go. Look at that. Look at that. All right, let's get back to the game. Clear these hands. I need Sean up in here because I know he might have something to do with work. We'll go to the other Micah, the Grizzlies Micah, then Jay. We'll hit up Sean for his thoughts on the NBA. We'll talk some Knicks, and then we'll move on to Lakers Heat because the Heat looked like, well, the Lakers. Micah, Grizzlies, go.
Can y'all hear me? Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, cool. These AirPods are kind of iffy. First off, I understand the Florida comment because the Memphian. Leave us out of all Tennessee discussions, please. We're our own entity. Two, kind of touching base on Grayson Allen. I was a bona fide Grayson Allen hater, but when he came to Memphis in the Conley deal, you kind of get a soft spot for him when he's on your team, but he also played his cleanest ball in Memphis. Like, I don't remember any sort of weird, aggressive foul takes in Memphis. Besides that point, with Toronto, you have to understand too, especially with, I think the comment was like, are they going to keep Nick Nurse? Are they going to move forward? This is the same organization that fired Dwayne Casey 3 weeks after winning Coach of the Month? Was it?
Coach of the Year.
Yeah, Coach of the Year, but I think he also won Coach of the Month, and then the next month they're like, he's out.
So, yeah, no, you're right. It goes to Sean's point.
Keep that in mind. So, also, just with this Raptors team, man, it's kind of hitting on the point that I was talking about with the Hornets. It's like, I see him play. Pascal's amazing. I like Gary Trent coming off the bench for them. I hate to give Scotty Barnes the Michael Carter Williams Jr. card, bro. I don't get it. He was great last year. And this year, there's a couple other people in the sophomore slump, like Zaire Williams isn't playing great, But I don't, with this Raptors team, it's like, do you continue to try to build pieces around Siakam, or do you go ahead and utilize Siakam while he gets a value and start to do a rebuild? I don't know.
We'll put that question around. Do you have an iPhone? You have an iPhone, right? Do me a favor. Go to the top right and do the drag down menu.
Okay.
Go to mic mode and put it on voice isolation. You see it?
Oh wait, like on my actual.
Yeah, on your actual iPhone, go to the top right where the battery is. Bring down the menu. There's a mic mode. Put it on voice isolation.
You don't know?
You're still kind of muffled. All right, we'll figure it out. Let's go to Jay to Wakanda. We'll go to Vaughn after that. Then we'll get Sean with the W to talk about what he saw in the NBA last night. We'll transition to Knicks so he can big up Jalen Brunson. Bonkai will be here and he will gush over the birthday win. And then we will talk Lakers and Heat because Hemi Butler, Bam the man, they were not last night. Appreciate everybody. Jay, go then Vaughn.
Yeah, the other thing that would help Nick Nurse and Scotty Barnes is Fred VanVleet not shooting like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. That would help tremendously because with the shot volume that Fred feels entitled to take, he's been abysmal this year, and he's trying to shoot his way out of it because shooters shoot, but it's just not working. And his size, he wants to play defense, which is a plus, but at his size and the way the NBA is trending and that knee, he's league average. I'll give him league average because I respect him. But if he's going to shoot like this, Masai has to move him in that contract, or he has to shut everything down and hope that he can get a top 8 pick. Because even if they make a run, if Fred is going to shoot like this team is kind of dead in the water.
Yeah, I don't think Fred is necessarily healthy. And I also find it funny because I remember last year, and I'm a huge Fred fan. And you know, I was like, I hope he makes the All-Star game. However, my argument was all he's really doing is being Terry Rozier with an extra 3. And like, lo and behold, this year, who does he remind you of? Like Terry Rozier. Now, that's not bad, but that's not what they need, right? Like Terry Rozier is a phenomenal scorer in a microwave. They need a point guard because Scotty ain't it right now. And he's in this microwave Terry Rozier mode because that's all he needed to do because of Kyle Lowry. And then, like, we thought he was going into the lead guard role, but what it really was he was just holding down the point guard spot for Scotty Barnes to become what they thought he was going to become, right? And when Scotty's struggling, it makes it even worse for Fred because people are saying, "Oh, your volume shots is killing us," even though that's technically the role on offense that he's been groomed for, which is 18, 20 shots per game with 7 to 10 of them being threes, right? So sometimes I think success creates a unattainable standard. And I think Toronto's got hit with that last year, that they had success, but it just wasn't sustainable. We'll go to Vaughn, we'll go to JF, and then we got Sean up here. There's a question up there from the Hornets lead. If you want to hop back in on the Charlotte professional basketball team, go ahead and answer that question. Leave the hashtag hoop spaces. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Vaughn, 30 seconds.
All right, man. I don't really get the whole Grayson Allen hate. Every team needs a dog. The Bucks team ain't complaining about having Grayson Allen. They love the fact that he had that last winning 3. They love it. Like, it's the same thing when the Clippers had Patrick Beverley. Everybody hated. They called Patrick Beverley all this. But when he was on the Clippers, he was the dog. We needed a dog. You have Dylan Brooks on the Grizzlies. He be having some players that be kind of fishy, but hey, I give him a pass. And then also Draymond kicking people in the nuts. Hey, but he got the podcast. He has the 4 rings, but nobody doesn't bat an eye to that. Every team gonna have that dog. If the teammates are not complaining, there's nothing for me to say. I can say, Grayson Allen had a little fishy moments. That was kind of like, come on, but he does what he's supposed to do. He's a dog. You know what I mean? We don't have that dog anymore. Lawrence France traded Patrick Beverley. It hurt it. He booted us in the play-in. You know how he threw, he got on the thing, threw his shirt out. That hurt it. Yo, I was like, that hurt it. But the thing is, teams need dogs. Grayson Allen, if he was in any of y'all team, y'all would love Grayson Allen. Y'all would have loved the fact that he had that 3 shot, and y'all would have been cheering. That's all I gotta say, man. I feel like teams need dogs. And you know what I mean? Like Toronto, they don't have no dogs. You feel me? There's no dogs on that. Miami Heat. Who's the dog on the Heat?
Stop it.
Who?
Oh, yeah, we're not.
Grayson Allen is a dog, bro.
Hey, he's
Let
he
him antagonize it instead of a dog.
But he's still part of the dog. All right, then what would you call Patrick Beverley?
I would call Patrick Beverley an agitator.
Still a dog, man. He does things that other people on the team would not do.
Well, for that part, I actually disagree with, because other players will do that. I think it's a combination of doing that and the attitude he carries on the court. Like that's the issue. Is like a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, only this player will do that." Like, nah. Like if you watch the game, like Pat Connaughton was out there being that quote dog, right? It's just that he wasn't having a successful night. But his attitude isn't the same, or his demeanor isn't the same as Grayson Allen. And a lot of that has to do with, again, perception versus reality. Right? That's the argument here. I looked at the play, God, about 40 times now. I don't think it's intentional. I don't think it was dirty. I think it was overly aggressive. Right? based upon the rules the NBA now has these players play. Let me get 6 of the 12 JF, and then we'll finally go to Sean. Appreciate it, everybody. 6 of the 12. Thanks for your patience.
Hey, good morning, Chris. Good morning, everybody. Please retweet the show card on the big board. Help our boy Chris grow. He always does great things on these spaces. We come every single day, so that's the least that we can do, honestly. Just responding back to the last speaker. You know what Grayson Allen reminds me of, Chris? I don't know if you know the type of dog that's a chow. They're very fluffy and they're very, they're big, fluffy, they're cute, but like when you look at them straight on, when you turn your back to them, they come up behind you and like bite you. That kind of reminds me of Grayson Allen. Like, they call him a dog by him playing dirty. That's just, I don't know, man. Like, I'd rather somebody go out there and be a different type of dog than that. To be honest with you. So that's all I really wanted to respond to that. And no, I would not want a Grayson Allen on the Pelicans team. I'm okay beating teams the right way and not having to do all that extracurricular shit.
All right, JF, go.
Yeah, Jose Alvarado is more of a dog than Grayson Allen. If you are asking for a dog on the Miami Heat, you can definitely ask Tyler Hasbro who the dog is. He's sitting right there at the end of the bench. But Chris, I just want to say with good news, DeMar Hamlin has woken up, so he's awake right now. So big ups to him.
All right, there you go. That is dope to hear. Yeah, that was a brutal watch. Man, shout out to Hamlin. Hopefully, this is continued good news and a continued recovery. It's going to be a long road. Jasmine wanted to reply to something that was said. We'll go to her for 30 seconds. We got Sean ready to go to talk Jalen Brunson and these New York Knicks that a lot of people they're just not going to take seriously. They're just not. But it's just okay. They're going to prove you wrong. Jazz, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been watching the play all morning, and to me, I don't see Grayson in his landing space. Maybe if I see it from a different angle, I see it. But I think once Gary Trent felt the contact, that's when he kicked his legs out when he was in the air and then fell back, because he also did that earlier in the game, and he hit the same shot from the same spot. But all that to say, on top of that, the refs really were like helping Toronto out within those last 2 minutes. There was a play with Bobby Portis where I think it was Pascal Siakam. The two of them were on the baseline, and the ball last hit Siakam, but they called it on Bobby Portis, and the Raptors got the ball back. Not saying that, the Raptors didn't do what they needed to, like, within those last 2 minutes, because they did. But they did get some help from the refs and still didn't end up winning the game. So, just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, the 2 minute report was bad. The officiating was bad. It was bad. Yeah, it was. It was like I've got no compunction with that. And they don't have to stay in the space. They just have to cross the plane that is the shooter's space.
Correct. And last point for me, seeing how, Miami Heat and Toronto Raptors are playing right now, I think Kyle Lowry just needs to go home. Just go home. Go back to, Toronto. Get your team together, get your squad back together, and just let Miami be great, because they were great without him. Not saying they're not great with him, but I just don't think that he's Heat culture. He's a nice player, but I just don't think that's the team for him.
You just made a whole bunch of people smile. I just want to let you know. Whole bunch of people in South Beach they just started smiling. Somebody says, "I feel heard." Thank you, Jasmine. Sean with the W, host of Live from the Mecca, as well as co-host with Knicks Film School. Dope listen, and a diehard Knicks fan. 117-114. The Knicks are victorious over those pesky San Antonio Spurs. Julius Randle, another double-double, 25 and 13. But more importantly, he was engaged defensively, 3 steals, 4 blocks, should have been 5. You had a career night from Jalen Brunson, 38, 7, and 6. Quickly and Grimes chipped in with 29 apiece. The bench actually did bench things that were good. Even Evan Fournier did something nice that Knicks fans can appreciate as he helped them win the game. Sean, appreciate you coming up and being able to co-host whenever you can. We'll go to you first. Your thoughts And then we'll go to the previous birthday boy who was just so elated that the Knicks didn't disappoint him and gave him the birthday present he truly wanted. Sean, good morning.
Good morning. First of all, happy belated birthday to Bankai. You catching a birthday song in the Applebee's while listening to Who Spaces will never not be funny. Second, to everyone who said that the Knicks were desperate, that they overpaid, that Jalen Brunson is mid, that the Knicks don't know what they're doing. Yeah. I would like your apology form filled out by the end of the week. And there are some of you, I'm looking at some of you in the audience, you had a lot of shit to say. We'd like your apology form filled out by the end of the week. The Knicks won 8 straight games, then lost 5 in a row, now won 3 in a row. So they won 11 out of their last 16. And if they can hit some free throws or grab a fucking rebound, that will be 13 out of 16. But I digress. The Knicks are 21-18. And they are currently 6th place in the Eastern Conference, and that's right around where I had them, 6 or 7. As I said yesterday, Chris, by Christmas, you know where you are. Everyone has played at least 37 games. Like, this is basically where y'all are going to be. So, looking at, like, the standings, like, Boston, Milwaukee, cool. I'm going to give shout out to Brooklyn. I'm going to give shout out to myself because Brooklyn is exactly where I thought they would be. People thought they were going to be like some 500 team. I'm like, not as long as they have Kevin. And they're firmly in the top 3. So I'll pat myself on the back for that. Everyone in the play-in, I expected to be in the play-in except for Indiana, who will not go away. But, Chris, you had a tweet yesterday that said, which team disappointed you the most? And for me, I think it's the Toronto Raptors, not even close. Like, 16-22 is just like, I did not see this coming because the Raptors are a good team of good players and a really good coach. Yes, there are some injuries that played a role, but the Fred VanVleet, the Raptors fans turned on Fred is kind of crazy. I thought they loved Fred. I mean, they probably still do love Fred, but that was crazy. But speaking of turning on players, no one has turned on their star player like the Atlanta Hawks have on Trae Young. And it is hilarious and awful at the same damn time. Like, I'm not, because I follow so many Hawks fans, I got retweets in the timeline about Trae at the end of games and him throwing up crazy shots and like, yo, what happened? How y'all turning him so fast? Like, come on, man. That's crazy.
It's head spinning. I'm putting that tweet out there now because I saw the same stuff. I just shook my head.
Like, yo, what happened?
Like,
I don't know. I saw Bill Simmons had a podcast about Knicks what ifs as if after Donovan Mitchell scored 71 points. If we had Donovan Mitchell, he would have scored 71 points for us and we'd be 22-17. So there you go. So let's just call it like it is. The last thing I'll say, the other team, my honorable mention for the most disappointing team, and I will take questions on this from you or from anybody, is Minnesota. Because I thought when they made the Gobert trade, I was like, okay, well, now they finally have a center that can actually protect the rim, which can, and then on offense, Cat wants to be on the damn perimeter anyway, so it should fit, and it looks like it doesn't.
Yeah, and they look better with Cat out too. That's another issue.
Which scares me because if I always said that the next available person to ask out is the guy that wears number 21 in South Philly, but if Cat becomes available, I am definitely afraid that my team will trade for him. I am definitely afraid because as you can see right now, Cat is a flawed player in a sense that's like he's a center that can't protect the rim. You put him on the perimeter and he gets cooked by dudes on the perimeter. So it's like, what do you do? So then you have to bring in another guy. It's very similar to happened when the Knicks signed Amari and they're like, okay, let's bring in Ronny Turiaf to defend for rim protection. It's like, yeah, but now I got Ronny Turiaf taking up the damn paint, right? So I'm very interested to see what they do. But yeah, listen to guys, everyone where you are right now, that's probably where you are within 1 or 2 places. That includes you, Golden State. Maybe you'll get to 6, but I don't think when Steph comes back, you're winning like 22 in a row. So, just get to 6.
The funniest thing that I was thinking of when I've been reviewing Karl Anthony Towns' season and career is that he wants to be more like Rashard Lewis and less like Boogie Cousins.
You never want to be like Boogie. Boogie would take you to the post, and that's not your mouse in the house. Like, Cat has no desire to do that. And the funny thing, he's good at it too.
Exactly. That's my point. Like, he's good, but he doesn't want to do it. He wants to be Rashard Lewis.
Sad.
I mean, Rashard Lewis is a great player. Had a great career.
Yeah, but he was drafted number 1. You shouldn't want to be Rashard Lewis if you were drafted number 1.
Yeah. I don't get it. I really don't, man. I really, really don't. We'll go to Bonkai. Bonkai, again, happy birthday and glad the Knicks got you a win. What did you see? We'll go to Breeze tonight. We'll close out with Malika and we'll hit up the next game. My answer to the Charlotte professional basketball question presented by the Hornets lead is Bryce McGowan's, Mark Williams, JT Thor, and LaMelo if he buys in. Nobody else needs to be kept. Bonkai, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. Thank you for the birthday wishes, everybody. Yeah, they delivered a win. Chris, thank God they didn't go to overtime like you said yesterday in that tweet. It looked like all the makings of OT or a heartbreaking loss. Evan Fournier went up. He made one free throw, and of course he had to miss the other free throw. But, hey, at least we had a little bit of help from, what's his name, Jeremy Sohan, who, got a 5-second call go against him, which actually shocked me.
Hilarious.
You don't normally
that
see
was
this.
hilarious.
I don't know what happened to him. Like, it just seemed like his controller ran out of battery or something. Like, he just broke. I was like, okay, well, we'll take it. But anyways, Jalen Brunson, man, like, I swear to God, there was so many people giving this guy crap and giving the Knicks crap for signing them. There was even people within the fan base saying, oh, he's overpaid. Oh, he's just here because he's somebody's godson. Oh, he's just here because his dad works for the Knicks. Oh, he's going to be a bad contract. That kid has more than delivered so far. And to be honest, I think he deserves to be an all-star. And if you disagree, that's fine. But he is so cold. I mean, the degree of difficulty that he plays with and, just smoothness is so crazy, because for him to be a guard of his size, to have to be able to get some of these shots over bigger defenders is absolutely insane. You got to have like some type of a depth touch while you're shooting. It's just amazing to watch him play every single night. He's a warrior. He gets hurt and he wants to play. And I just got to say, he's so smooth. Bro, he has better footwork than a lot of the big men in the league. Because if you watch him, he's posting up guys bigger than him. He's not backing down. Like, his footwork is so immaculate. And I got to say about the whole Grayson Allen thing. Listen, he's not a dog, not to me. He doesn't look like a little puppy. You know who he looks like to me? And you can go on Google and look this up. He looks like Ted Cruz, to be honest.
Oh, I've been saying that. I've been saying that since Duke. He's definitely Ted Cruz.
That's been around for like a decade, man. He got that in high school.
That's who he looks like. He's not to me. He's not a dog. I don't respect that guy, man. I just view him as a dirty player, to be honest. Any chance he gets to be dirty, he's dirty. And I remember when they played the Bulls a couple of weeks ago, like, the announcers were going off at him, and I do agree. Somebody's going to two-piece him one night, and he's probably going to finally learn that he needs to stop being a dirty player.
Nah, he ain't never going to get two-piece.
You don't think he'll ever get two-piece by somebody?
Nah, bro, it's a different NBA.
Not in today's NBA, bro. That dude will be.
This a different NBA. He ain't getting two-piece.
I'm just gonna say this. I hope he tries to pull off a dirty move on Isaiah Stewart and see what happens.
And why are you trying to wish that on anybody? Don't, like, the one thing you shouldn't wish on anybody is an angry Isaiah Stewart. All right.
Now, imagine though, that would be insane. I mean, I don't think
it wouldn't be. Isaiah Stewart's like 6'8", 265. That's not why.
Can you imagine Grayson Allen running around?
Like, well, he'd have to catch him. I bet you, like, we're talking sub 8, 100 meters by Grayson Allen if Isaiah Stewart's coming after him.
Listen, Grayson looks small, and he might be from like the outskirts of Jacksonville, but nonetheless, he is from Jacksonville. I don't think he's ducking no smoke. Isaiah Stewart will definitely have the upper hand, but we're
He
not
from
going to
that nice
promote
part
violence.
But you
where
know what's
Chris
funny?
We're not going
You
to
know
promote
what's
violence.
funny? You know what's funny is that
I
he's
love Jasmine
talented.
defending him. This is dope.
Chris, you know what's funny, Jasmine? He's talented. He's not a bad player. And if he just didn't do this stuff, honestly, he'd probably be likable because he's not a bad player. He's not a
Yeah,
scrub. He
Yeah.
can
Grayson was
play.
definitely he was the number one player in Jacksonville before he went off to
He
college.
he is Luke Kennard with an attitude. Breeze, what's up?
Damn. I wanted to hold off just long enough, but right before the bum joint just to see. But I need to get the timing together. But for the Knicks game, man, I think it's funny. A couple weeks ago we was in here for the Toronto after we lost to Toronto, and I thought I didn't want to use the excuse because I think it's too early and I don't want to put that much pressure on like Quentin Grimes. But I be in here and I hear a lot of people get some nasty names off for their team, like when they players be missing. But I felt like it was a different energy in here just because we said Quentin Grimes. I didn't say it, but Bankai said it. Since then, he had a 33-point game. He's just been solid around 15s, 14s, 16s. And he, like, for a lot of teams, I know, like what name are you throwing out there? But for our team, which, we're not the greatest in talent, and, we recognize that, he's an integral part of what we do night in and night out. And now that you've seen the different, like, we're seeing Evan Fournier again, which is a cursed name in Nick's Twitter for everybody but Sean with the W. But the fact that he can go from like 1 to 5 and he's still not giving you the defense. Quentin Grimes could shoot 1 for 8 and still have an impact on the game. So I just want to say, for everybody that was giving him hell a couple weeks ago, it's just a difference with he in the lineup, man. He's a piece of the young core.
All right. I don't.
Funny, Chris.
What are you gonna say? Because like if it isn't funny, like you set yourself up, right?
Okay. Well, it's crazy, that we won 8 straight and we had to play the Toronto Raptors and we lost. We won 3 straight now, and guess who we play tomorrow in Toronto? The Raptors.
3 games in 16 days. Get ready.
Yeah, not funny. Not
trilogy.
Funny. Was more.
Hopefully, we can put them in the
it
dirt
was,
and end their season. We can go push them towards Wembanyama. Get the Raptors out of here.
Scotty Barnes is gonna be hitting a bunch of jump shots on us tomorrow because that's just how it works.
It was a lot of fact there, Bankai. Just not a lot of funny. Got to work on the funny part. Well, we'll hit you with that one. Knight, hop up in here. Then we'll go to Malika Walker. We'll hit a reset. I got a read to do. We got more basketball to talk. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure you go over to Substack and sign up for the Hoop Spaces review. And if you are of somebody who has the ability to support, because you come in every day and you enjoy the content, you enjoy the community, the camaraderie, you can sign up for a subscription, $5 a month or $50 a year. All the proceeds will go to making content. Knight, go ahead. Good morning. It's good to see you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm a Mavs fan, so I just want to, reiterate what Sean with the W was saying. As far as Brunson goes, like, if y'all was doubting Brunson, y'all should have looked at how my fan base was reacting when we lost him. Homie is a fucking killer, and he's a beast on the floor. He knows what he's doing, and like, I was so upset that we lost him that I shoved that freaking jersey in the back of my closet because I was pissed. But I understand that it's not his fault. It was Mark Cuban's fault. So all you Knicks fans, be happy that y'all got a true point guard because that's exactly who we needed next to Luka.
True story. I just want to know, when do we build a statue for Mark Cuban outside of MSG? Because I think he's deserving of one after letting that guy walk for nothing. Like the Knicks never get this lucky. Never.
Well, one, the market for Brunson wasn't as robust as you're making it out to be.
But that's the
right?
point.
Like other
that's
teams,
the point. It's like, how are we this lucky?
Well, no, because every other team knew he was going to New York. That's why you lost the second round draft
Well,
pick.
usually that doesn't even work. I mean, usually we'll get a hopes up, and he won't
You
even come.
hired his dad.
Hey, the Wizards hired Kevin Durant's like uncle. And then he didn't even give them a meeting.
Like maybe they should have hired his mom. Like she the real MVP.
I mean, Doc traded his own son, but
He did. That's greatness. That's what that is.
But
He
the
understood.
thing is though, if Dallas offers him the full max that they could, he probably stays put. Like,
yes.
So that's why I think
And
that's why I
yeah.
say like that's why we're lucky.
Well,
Chris,
so
not.
they had to actually have offered it prior, right? Like because they lowballed him, just like they're getting ready to lowball Christian Wood, who is the second best player on their team, saying, "Oh no, we kind of like this 2-year, $32 million offer," and like Christian Wood's agent's like, "Bro, we want 477."
Chris, there's not one Knicks fan out there that thought that Jalen Brunson was actually coming, except for one, and that's how you know. That's how you know there was no hope that he was coming. There's only one Knicks fan.
That's a more Nick fan issue than anything else.
Get him.
Knight, you hear me invoke Christian Wood and the Mavs. I almost said a word that I wasn't. Yeah, dilly dallying around Christian Wood's extension. What are your thoughts? And we'll head up to Malik after the reset. Everybody.
Oh my freaking gosh, bro! If this turns out to be Jalen Brunson all over again, I will never in my life trust Mark Cuban with a damn thing. Bro, the homie has proven to you that he deserves not only to start, but to be on this team next to Luka. Give the man the damn extension. Stop playing around, because if you lose him for nothing, we're not going to make the playoffs.
What if it's actually Luka himself?
What?
What do you mean?
Like, I mean, like what I mean is just, what if it's just Luka just want the ball himself? He had Jalen. I'm just saying. Look, I'm just thinking outside the book.
This is what I want you to do, Vaughn. I want you to go watch Luka's Eurobasket run, and then come back and talk about whether he wants the ball, because like he is playing an offensive position that is designed for him to have the ball, right?
No. What I'm trying to say is that no, he's a beast. He's a fucking beast. You know what I mean? Trust me, I watched him.
What I'm understanding, what I want you to understand is like the question you said is inherently invalid. Like he doesn't want to actually hold the ball like that. The offense is built like that. That's what you're not seeing or hearing. Like he wants it to be more where it was like Jason Tatum, where he has the ability to not have the ball sometimes, but like the Mavs aren't there. Like the next ball handler is Spencer Dinwiddie, and then after that, it's nobody. So what do? You keep the ball in Luka, because without him having the ball, the Mavs can't actually perform as well on offense. Like that's the issue.
No. You make a point on that. You made me like think
not
hard.
Only that, but
go ahead, Knight. Go ahead, Knight.
Not only that, but with your question, like homie averages 10 assists. He definitely don't want to hold the ball. He wants his teammates to hit their damn shots when they're open.
It's funny, like, because I said this before, like they are literally living and dying by THJ making shots. Like if they don't get THJ, if they don't get Reggie Bullock making shots, they don't win. Sean, like you've seen both these dudes on the Knicks. Are they going to hit their shots?
Consistently.
Not at all.
Like if you're depending on Reggie Bullock and THJ, I mean, Jesus Christ. I'll say this. In regards to the whole being cheap thing, I think the Mavs and the Hawks are in a similar boat, because I see people complaining about how Tony Russell's cheap, this and the third. I see both sides, because you don't want to pay the luxury tax for a team that's not a title contender, because that's just stupid. But at the same time, you got to like pay somebody. You just can't let everyone walk. So it's a slippery slope that they're trying to it's a fine line they're trying to walk, right? So I would say this in regards to Christian Wood and the Mavs. Just because you let Jalen Brunson walk and that was a mistake doesn't mean you should overpay Christian Wood. But at the same time, you don't want to lowball. You don't want to lowball him either. So they're kind of stuck in that place. Like you know who's funny? You know who the Dallas Mavericks could actually use and would be a player right? There's a player right now in the league that's playing at a level that will be perfect for them.
Who?
Kristaps Porzingis.
No. Hold on. Christian. Wait.
Look what you did, Sean. Like, why you gotta do that, bro?
This version of Kristaps they could use.
That's so mean.
True, though.
Real quick, let's play a game. We're just gonna play a game with Malika and Sean and myself here, right? Malika and Sean are the contestants. I am the host. I'll even hit the button here. We'll push off the read for a minute. We're gonna play Guess Their Record. Here's the Dallas Mavs lineup if Luka Doncic is out. Starting at point guard, Kemba Walker. Starting at shooting guard, Spencer Dinwiddie. Starting at small forward, Tim Hardaway Jr. Dorian Finney-Smith Jr. is injured, so he is out, being replaced by either Reggie Bullock or Christian Wood, and then Dwight Powell. How many games, Sean, does that team win?
So I'm guessing the number one scorer on that team will be Tim Hardaway Jr. And I've seen a team with Tim Hardaway Jr. as their number one go-to scorer, and that team was the 2019 New York Knicks, and they won 17 games. So I'm gonna say because they have Christian Wood, 20-62.
20-62. Malika, you heard the starting lineup: Kemba Walker, Spencer Dinwiddie, Tim Hardaway Jr., Reggie Bullock or Christian Wood at the power forward, Dwight Powell at center. How many games does that Dallas Mavericks team win?
You know, I hate these type of things, but I like Sean's reasoning, but I'm going to go a little lower. I'm going to go 15 and 55, maybe. I don't know. But I believe with Sean. I believe what Sean said, but I think it could be lower because, yeah, I believe it could be lower with Kemba because he's going to be in and out the lineup at this point. He's not a healthy Kemba, which means they will lose less.
That's process sixes. That's process sixes level. That's Houston Rockets level bad.
Yeah, that's Charlotte Hornets tanking for AD bad. Oof. But I would, you know what's funny? Because Spencer Dinwiddie could win a game by himself. Wood could win a game by himself. I would say, so I would actually go a little higher, but like at most 23 wins. Because, yeah.
All right.
At most, I agree with that. But Spencer, I don't know. I feel like, for him to pop off, he needs the exact right lineup for him to do what he does. I don't know. I feel like sometimes with the Mavericks, he's not doing what I thought he would do on his team this season.
So I'm hearing, let's just say 22-60 for easy math. Would you two agree with that? How is Luka Doncic not the MVP of the league?
That's a good point. I have nothing against that.
That's rough. That's what we're talking about, Von. Like, that's how difficult this is. Just go through the lineups, see what they have, and then understand that this was a team that beat Phoenix and went to the Western Conference Finals behind the play of Luka Doncic and Jalen Brunson. Like, it is what it is, bro. The dude is a beast, like you said, but he gets his players involved. Otherwise, they're not going 54 or 52 wins.
Okay, now I can see what I was trying to say a little bit more. It's just maybe Luka just is such a beast that he doesn't really need any like top players. Maybe he's fine with the squad he got. If Christian Wood goes and if they can make a certain trade, yeah, maybe. But at the end of the day, it's in Luka's hands.
Oh yeah.
If Luka gets off the field, I'm saying like when Luka gets off the court, the team is just like, what the hell is this? They don't have a really good bench.
You know what's funny is people used to say the same thing about Paul George. People used to say the same thing about Kawhi. I got to hit this read. I'm going to put you on mute real quick so I can get this done. We can move on because we got more games to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, we are brought to you by our sponsor, Slam Goods. You can head over to slamgoods.com. I am going to put up a cover, right? It's not going to be the one you think because I'm going to highlight the disparity between the WNBA and the NBA in this tweet that I'm going to put out here. Slam does a great job of diversifying basketball. They cover all high school, college, women's, men's, right? They have a wonderful cover of a superwoman. She plays for Minnesota. We'll get into that a little bit later. So head over to slamgoods.com. I'm going to put the tweet up so you can see it. You can pick up this cover or another cover, perhaps maybe the Allen Iverson cover, all $9.99. You can use promo code HoopSpaces, save 15% off of your entire purchase. Also, big shout outs down below as some more people popped in. Josh Rodriguez at the Dime is in the building. Dia Miller is in the building. Definitely people you want to follow. Dia is closer to the game than anybody in the room who is not a player on their burner. Josh does a fantastic job on the Dime, hosted by Ball is Life. My friend and compatriot down below, Hoop Spaces Ryan, is in the building. We're eagerly awaiting the updated cardio rankings. Shout out to him. He'll be doing some legwork when he has some free time to help us redo the website as well. Jose from 77 Spaces is here. Check him out 1 hour prior to all Dallas Mavericks games with Speak on a Rolo and Jazz, the Scissor Sister, aka Scammer Sultan. And you know, they play, and you should show up so you can listen to what they actually want as a fan base. You hear us talking about it, and we are trying to do the best we can, but why don't you go down to MFFL territory and hear some passionate Dallas Mavericks fans talk about their squad? It'll make you a better fan. It'll make them a better fan. And at the end of it, y'all have a good time. Slamgoods.com. Well, that's our sponsor. Promo code HoopSpaces, save 15%. Yeah, I like that. I'm hungry. I skipped breakfast.
No coleslaw for breakfast this morning?
Nah, I didn't have any, bro. I would have had some salmon and coleslaw. That would have been, you know what? That's what I'm going to have tomorrow. Salmon and coleslaw. Thank you,
God
Sean.
Almighty. I will say one thing to Vaughn real quick. I think this is a situation where both things can be true. I agree with you that, I don't think a crazy heliocentric offense you can win a title with that type of heliocentricity with your best player. But on the flip side, it's again, it's the New York Knicks. How far? And not even it's this New York Knicks sloppy second. How far is he going to go? So it just comes down to better roster construction. It just comes down to better roster construction. I think the Mavs have been a bit unlucky. I think they've been a bit negligent, and I think they've been a bit, complacent in letting Luka doing what he wants. So listen, man, team building is hard. You need some luck. You need some found money. You need some luck. You need to win on the margins because everyone's smart now. Everyone knows everything. It ain't easy, but to the point you made, both things can be true. It's hard for a team to win when that guy has that much usage. But what other choice do they have?
All right, we're going to move. I know Mike and Knight want to come back in here for some Mavs talk. We're going to have to move. We're just running out of time. Still have more games to talk to. And speaking of winning on the margins, that is what the Miami Heat have been reduced to, of having to win on the margins. And when they did not last night, 112-109, Lakers over the Heat. Dennis Schroeder, game high 32. 8 for 15 from the floor, 12 for 14. Nasty, nasty work. 4 steals. Simply unstoppable. Thomas Bryant, 21-9, doing it again. I said it earlier in the show. He does this every stop he's gone. He has phenomenal games, and then for whatever reason, he's just gone. Austin Reeves, 11 points off the bench. Russell Westbrook, 21 points, 8 boards, 9 assists. Wayne Gabriel, 10 points, and a Kendrick Nunn sighting. 9 points on 4 of 9 shooting in 15 minutes. The biggest problem I have with the Heat, who are led by Bam Adebayo's 30 and 13, Jimmy Butler had 27, but the biggest problem is the combination of whoever starts next to him didn't get up and going. Tyler Hero's done a phenomenal job this year. He's averaging over 20, 6-5, but he had a rough night. Kyle Lowry continues to underperform or underwhelm, depending upon who you speak of in Heat Twitter. Caleb Martin has turned back into the small forward we all know he is, because he's a small forward. He's not a power forward. You had Victor Oladipo off the bench and Max Strus off the bench combined for 20. However, they were 6 for 18 together for 33%. And the return of Dwayne Dedman, who I think leads the league in fouls per minute. Like, it's bad. This was a team that kind of had turned it around a little bit, but winning on the margins is what they're going to need to do. And it just doesn't look like it's going to be sustainable. We're going to ask now, buy or sell the Miami Heat. As I had the Miami Heat in the top 6, I had the Toronto Raptors fighting the Atlanta Hawks and New York Knicks for the 7th or 6th seed, depending on injury. And it's just it's bad vibes in Miami. We'll go to Malika Walker, who's got something with the rewind coming up. We have JFK Kid, Micah, Knight, Vaughn, Jasmine, who wants to hop in on some Lakers and Heat talk as well. Malika, go ahead and let's talk about what you wanted to bring up first before we transition to the Lakers and Heat, and then give us your thought on the Lakers.
My question was really, and my point was when Sean was talking about how the Hawks fans turned on Trey, and like when the Star is having like a difficult season, like I feel like fans have a short memory and they go, like when they're great, they're great and you all for them, but when it's like I feel like when it's extended beyond maybe a few weeks, all of a sudden we need to you see all these look for trades because he sucks. I feel like if like fans just have a short temperament, and sometimes fans are just not loyal. Like, are they preferring DeJounte like long term over Trey? Like the Hawks fanship is kind of confusing in that regard. So that's one thing I wanted to point out. Like, give Trey, I don't know, but maybe they feel like they gave Trey, they backed Trey the first time when Lloyd Pierce was let go, and now here we go with Nate McMillan, or maybe all of it needs to be addressed. But the Hawks situation, I thought they would be better than they are now. Rudy Gobert, I'm still surprised. I mean, maybe, Donovan Mitchell was right all this time, to have issues with Rudy Gobert. But all I wanted to say is a lot of the Nets fans are not big fans of deloading. So the fact that he unfollowed the Minnesota Timberwolves this summer is hilarious. But because some people say he's still loading even with the Nets. I mean, I don't hate.
Oh, I still say it. I've got no problem with it. I'm still waiting for D'Lo to load up.
Yeah, that's what Jay from BK says all the time. He's still loading. But with the Lakers, I mean, they're going to be the cause of the Pelicans getting another great piece in the lottery. They keep this up. I mean, the Pelicans are going to land a really good player to an already good lineup to make them even better next season. Because, I mean, LeBron is going all out when he plays now. I feel like on offense at least, but without AD in that lineup and that roster construction, my goodness, that roster construction. I mean, fans are calling for Jeannie to sell the team, but that's not happening. It's a family business. They're not selling, but Jeannie, is she trusting the right people? I think the problem is in the front office. Like the front office constructed this roster. I don't know where they go from here.
They need to make the trade. They need to make the trade.
I'm actually starting to become Team Pelinka here. This is getting really nasty.
Because I think it's Jeannie and who she trusts, and is she trusting the right people?
Well, I started having this thought, and I'll put it out in a tweet. So let me go ahead and say this now. What if they never thought they had a chance of winning, regardless of LeBron and AD being healthy?
I've heard that once they got LeBron to commit to the extension, they could be like, all right, we're good here, and this is their gap year.
Yes.
But the problem is they just can't.
Yep, they need to fill the stadium. They need to fill the arena. I mean, yeah.
Do they?
Well, it's Los Angeles, so it's like same thing with New York. As long as you can squint and see something,
Right. That's a good point. That's
it's
a
a
good
thing to
point.
do. So that's from that standpoint, they're
Hmm.
Gucci. This might be their gap year. I thought they were going to make the trade, but actually, listen, if they don't, if the best they can get for their 2 firsts are Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, then you know no,
Why?
exactly. Why? Don't do that. Don't do that. I still think that, and I will say this. I think it's our fault because we could have put the Bulls into the dirt and we didn't. And when we lost that game on Christmas Eve, because I think that's the trade they're waiting for. Is the pillars of Chicago Bulls, and now the Bulls have turned their season around. So I think there's gonna be like, you know what, we're good. Whatever.
So here's what I think. I actually think that this whole time they have targeted 2 or 3 players, maybe not even for this season, but for next season. And I'm starting to think Zach LaVine was one of those 2 or 3 players. There's been
Kyrie.
some, nah, not really. Like I think Kyrie was an opportunity, and I think Kyrie would end up being an eventuality. I think they would rather go younger with an experienced and established player like Zach, so that once LeBron is off his contract, you have a 28-year-old Zach who can still line up the seats of Staples. So I'm starting to come around to this theory, right? That they will hold out until the last possible second to potentially trade with the Chicago Bulls for Zach LaVine, which in fact they will give up the first round draft picks, or they stand pat with the original plan, which was this would be a gap year. Maybe they make the playoffs healthy. They can challenge for a 2 seed, get on a run, but without the health, it's just not going to happen. And then they go into the offseason with $92 million in cap compliance that they have with LeBron, AD, Damian Jones, and Max Christie, and about $37 million free in clear that they could spend. And I want to ask, is this going to be the way that we see a lot of these teams like Miami operate in the future, where they're going to go ahead and have a gap year and try to load up on these aging superstars to get one more last hurrah? Lakers Heat. We'll go to Jasmine first because this was the game that she specifically targeted. We got JF here. He'll break down Miami. We got Micah, whose hands up. I don't know if I'm going to go to you, Micah, if you're still in the construction site. The audio is just really bad today. We have Vaughn still here. If you want to come on up, now's the perfect time. We got about an hour left in the show. Shout outs down below to some people that haven't shout out. I will give Justin another shout out. If you are a passionate fan and you want to learn about content creating, we have an easy path for you. All you have to do is create reactions videos, and we even have it formatted. All you have to do is basically show up and be the fan who you are and react in real time. Record it, and we'll get it over to Justin, who's the YouTube coordinator for Hoop Spaces, and we'll start adding it to the YouTube channel, because here in 2023, one of the goals is to be able to bring more content creators on to get more eyes and grow as a community. We can't do that unless you, the fan, want to be able to try and succeed, because that's what we're trying to do here. So if you have that thought or want, you can join the likes of a couple people who yesterday said, hey, I think I want that, and reach out to Justin, and he will take your DM and get you set up. All right. We will go to Jasmine. Jasmine, we are on Lakers Heat. After you, we'll get JF. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I already made my statement about sending Kyle Lowry back to Toronto. I think that is his best fit. He doesn't really fit into Miami Heat culture. I would like to see Jimmy Butler and Bam cook again. And yeah, just want to give a shout out to my guy, Mr. Russell Westbrook, Mr. Triple Double, Brody, coming off the bench, just doing really great things for the Lakers. I really like the chemistry that I saw between him and Schroeder last night. A little reminiscent of what I saw in OKC from the both of them. And one thing that I really did like that I was paying attention to, Westbrook kept putting the ball in Schroeder's hand, letting him facilitate the offense, letting him just lead the team. And Russell Westbrook was right there behind him, like to pick up any slack, to step in when he needed to. He's been doing a really great job off the bench as the second highest paid player in the league. You know, I'm happy for him. I'm not a Lakers fan, but this is all Brody talk. So yeah, let's just keep it cute with Westbrook today. That's my only theme.
All right. A lot of y'all owe Russell Westbrook an apology. I am not one of those people. And I like being in that number. We'll go to JFK to explain the misery of Heat fans, how they could not beat an AD LeBron-less Lakers squad. JF, floor is yours.
Yeah, Chris. The team knows.
Your audio is bad too.
Oh, hold on. I got you.
All right, you can hear me? All right,
Yep,
perfect.
that's better.
Yeah, for
Perfect.
a team that has been 8-4 the last 12, I'm not too disappointed, Chris. We are in the season of mid and in transition. We are starting to see how teams are transitioning over into new era of basketball. And I think there's certain pieces we gotta see that's a good pillar. I think Russell Westbrook is a good pillar from this era to the next era if they're able to use him properly. But I think for the Heat side, look, Tyler Hero didn't have a good game. We were just talking about having our official big three, averaging 21.5 points with Bam, Jimmy, and Tyler. But Tyler had a not so good night. But his all around game was still there. I hate that Russell Westbrook is the second leading rebounder on the Lakers because that man's always active. I don't know where he gets his energy from, to be honest with you, but it's annoying playing him. Even if people want to call him washed or whatever it is, like that man's still gonna bring it. I think last night was definitely the beginning. We brought some Home Depot boxes over, starting to pack up Dwayne Dedman stuff. I know there's a team out there that needs a center. Somebody can definitely take us off our hand. He can definitely get off our hands for whatever you want. I kind of like, Subway sandwiches. So if anybody likes want to give a Subway sandwich, I'll definitely take that. Get rid of Dwayne Dedman. There's no way you can have a rebound, a block, a foul, a turnover in 6 seconds. He probably set a record for that. So that's something that's unacceptable. And for Eric Spoelstra to only play Orlando Robinson for 4 minutes, that kind of hurt because he's been on a tear these last couple games. And I think we just played into the money's hands. Like if we play these players that are getting paid, then this is what we're working with. But I think we need to ditch that plan, forget who we're paying for, and just pay the players that are actually doing something on the court. I think with these last 4 games that we lost, they have been close, so they haven't been that bad. I am agreeing with you that we do win on the margins, and we have to win definitively on certain, stat lines. So, the last point I got to make is I think Jimmy. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I think Jimmy was just practicing his last second bucket. I know Hero got one off the other day, but I think Jimmy's still having reminiscence of Game 7, so he tried to do another one. But he'll get his last second shot when it counts, and hopefully it's in the playoffs. But Chris, I'm not too mad about this, just because we're still above 500. And to see all these other teams that have been doing all these moves and people want to come on us for not doing anything. Like, look at the team that traded for DeJounte Murray. You know what I'm saying? Look at the team that has starters that are above 6'9" and above. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't want to trade a Scotty Barnes for a KD. I mean, look at the teams. Like, as long as we're contending with the Knicks, I feel comfortable making the playoffs. I mean, if that's the team you're telling me that I gotta look after in the playoff spot, I feel like they're kind of like the Dallas Cowboys. Like it's something that's willing to happen bad for them. So I don't think it's that bad of a loss, Chris, especially if LeBron didn't play. Like we kind of knew who Thomas Bryant was last game, so I wasn't surprised that he did what he did. But I think we do bounce back and go on another like 3-game win streak. I think this is where we're starting to put together our mini win streaks, and it has to at least be 2 to 3 in a row. And I wouldn't mind taking a loss like that because it also helps Lakers not getting Victor Wembanyama.
All right, I like that. A lot of people don't like the Heat because they're the Heat, and I'm totally down with that. But I think they're in a better spot than Toronto, and I do think that they'll probably push up and challenge New York for that 6th slot, and I think it'll come down to those two. A couple people have reached out about All-Star front courts for the Eastern Conference. I don't believe a lot of people are going to like this answer, but here you go. Giannis at the 5, traditionally speaking. Kevin Durant at the 4, Jason Tatum at the 3. Your 2 reserves, will be Julius Randle and Kristaps Porzingis.
Chris,
That leaves
Chris,
out. That leaves out.
What?
Yep. That leaves out Bam
You said
Adebayo. That leaves.
Kristaps Porzingis
You know
Kristaps
what,
is
Chris?
balling.
over Julius Randle? No.
I'm not even going to say I'm surprised about that. Like as a Heat fan, that's
No,
expected.
Julius Randle is the first off the bench.
Okay.
And which coach picked that?
Where's
Chris?
So
Which
what?
coach picked Julius Randle off the bench first over Bam?
Well, if you really want to go down that road, you're gonna lose.
Where's Joel Embiid?
He's playing better than
He's
Bam.
not. He's
so-
probably not going to play. He's probably going to end up being injured.
Very true. Yeah.
Julius Randle's playing better than Bam. So yeah.
He is. Julius Randle is playing better than Bam Adebayo. That is a fact. Like production. Regardless of whether Joel is injured or not, I actually don't think he plays. I think the Sixers, from some of the things I've read and are talking with people, trying to limit his playing heading into the playoffs, if you understand. And I think actually there's a chance we see a lot of that. So like we might not see KD at the All-Star game play. We'll see him at the All-Star game, but he might not play. And the reason why Kristaps Porzingis is in there is I do not think Joel Embiid, though he will be named an All-Star, plays in the All-Star game. And I think Kristaps picks up that spot.
See, I'm not even arguing the Julius Randle, but you said Kristaps over Bam, Chris? Come on.
22 points, 9 boards, 3 assists, a steal, a block and a half, a couple of threes. Like, what do you want?
Chris, he's
I'm proud of KP.
He's
KP doing his damn thing.
He's 0.7 away from Bam. Bam has probably, 21.5? And what's the records? Come on, you're going to tell me that they're going to pick somebody from a losing team?
Yes. There's a lot of All-Stars that are on losing teams.
State
this
MVP,
year.
bro.
I want to know. I got to look back in the history books to see what All-Star was on a losing team that made a starting spot.
Chris,
Or even a reserve.
Wait.
Or even a reserve.
There's no starter on a losing squad. Giannis at the 5, KD at the 4, Tatum at the 3.
Or even as a reserve, Chris. Like, come on now.
There's definitely been players who have not won or on a winning team that have made the All-Star game.
Chris, let me ask you a question on that. So JFK mentioned that there's a bit of percentage points in terms of like how much KP and Bam are averaging, whatever, and they're separated by some wins and losses. Bam has been an All-Star before, right? KP's never been. Oh no, KP was an All-Star one year.
Bam's never been an All-Star.
Yeah, he was. But suppose KP wasn't an All-Star. Do coaches look at that and say, okay, they're close, they're very close, right? Their teams are close in records. But do we give it to the guy who's never been an All-Star over the guy who's already been one?
The coach picks biasly who the coach wants, man.
Okay, I just wanted to, clear that out because I wanted to know if coaches ever thought about that or not,
No, each coach will pick their players individually. The biggest question is who the heck is going to coach the Eastern All-Stars? Like, so again, this also leaves out Pascal Siakam, who I would still pick ahead of Bam Adebayo. Right?
So you'd pick Kristaps Porzingis over Pascal.
Again, for me, based on production, Kristaps Porzingis has produced more than Bam Adebayo. Ergo, as a reserve, I've got no problem putting him up there as a reserve. That's what I'm saying.
Would you pick him over Julius?
No.
Okay.
No, Julius is clear number 3, but the issue is he won't be popular enough to supplant Kevin Durant as a starter. So he's just going to be coming off the bench, right? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Is like production, right? I'm just talking raw production.
So
right?
that means Tyler Hero would make it over Halliburton.
I had Tyler Hero in the actual poll last week or earlier this week because I do believe he's deserving of an All-Star bid as a reserve guard. I don't think he makes it because it ends up being a popularity contest with him, and there ain't a lot of people that like him.
You know what? I'm not even surprised, Chris. You're the same one that said Wild Al is better than Michael Jackson.
He is. Absolutely.
I'm not surprised.
You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. It's the truth.
I think there's an issue here. And you agree with the Rolling Stone ranking of 86? I think that's a
Oh,
whole.
I look.
We need to
Maybe,
separate room
maybe he's top 50.
We need a separate room on your Michael Jackson bias.
We're gonna bring in Josh Rodriguez of The Dime. All right, check out The Dime with Josh, one of the best NBA podcasts that knows how to talk ball without taking themselves too seriously. Jasmine also wants to hop in here. Let me get Jasmine real quick, then I'll go to Josh. Jazz, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, you guys were talking about a player that was selected as an all-star or an all-star starter that had a losing record, Bradley Beal.
There you go. Josh, good morning. Congratulations on the Knicks win. Go ahead and tell them first where they can find you, then we'll close where they can find you so we know they know where they can find you.
I mean,
What you
you
got
can
for
find
us?
me. I'm right here. You just click on my picture and follow me.
It's that easy.
It's that simple. Hold on. I don't really have many basketball takes today, as I just wanted to join the conversation just because I haven't done this in a while and I miss y'all. So what's up, everybody? How's it going? You said Weird Al is better than Michael Jackson.
Oh, absolutely. Far more talented as a musician.
That's one of the most absurd things I've ever heard in my life.
Well, okay, so how many instruments does Michael
I don't
Jackson
care
play?
how many instruments Michael Jackson plays. Listen, there's different talents you can have as a musician. You can hear music in your head and say, okay, this needs to be in this key. This needs to be in this tempo. There should be a key change here. This melody should go over here. We should structure the music in this way. There are different ways you can structure music and be a musician. It doesn't have to be, oh, I can pick up a guitar and play a G chord. Like, there's different ways you could be a musician.
Well, I can do that.
That's what I'm saying.
But okay, so the discussion started between Sam Spalding and my son. All right. So for those who don't know Sam, Sean and Malika do, shout out to NBA on CH. My son read the lyrics of Michael Jackson songs and Weird Al songs, and naturally gravitated toward Weird Al. So I had to explain like what covers are, et cetera, et cetera. And he says, Michael Jackson isn't funny. The smarter people are funny because they could take what the other person made and made it funny. That literally was the first argument. Sam is over here, mouth agape. He's like, but Michael Jackson can dance. And he's like, so? He ain't
That
funny.
means we got to put Andy Samberg on these lists now. Do you realize that? Like, that's a
Hey, look, I'm on a boat. I'm on a boat.
Nah, I'm just playing. Listen, as far as this all-star conversation, I think there's incredible disrespect to Pascal Siakam. The man's averaging 26, 8, and 8, or 8 and 7, something like that. And I think just because he plays in Toronto, people forget about him. I mean, maybe us Knicks fans are a little sensitive because he dropped, what was it, 50 on us? But he's definitely going to be a reserve over Kristaps Porzingis. And if a coach is picking, I don't think KP's that well liked in the league. I don't think a coach is going to go out their way to make him an all-star reserve. So Siakam would be my second in the front court as a reserve.
See, like I get what you're saying, and I want to say that too, but the issue ends up becoming that Pascal, just due to the nature of Toronto, has played the 5. He's played the 5 more than any time this in his career, right? And I think what ends up happening is they look at him versus KP, and they're like, we've got to choose. He got in last time. Literally, I think it'll come down to that. And to be honest, if Toronto says to Pascal, like, do you want to not play? Like, Pascal's going to say he's going to play. But I really think they're going to pick Kristaps. It's really weird how these production angles work. But hey, who knows? It could be end up a dude like Paolo Banchero.
Not this year. Maybe next year.
Who isn't an all-star. Yeah, maybe next year. He's and for all you Paolo fans, like, God bless. Like, I think Jabari Smith Jr. would be putting up the same, if not better, numbers in Orlando. Because we'll get to that game as well, because gosh, I feel so bad for that young man. What else you got, Josh? I want to know what else you've been watching.
Well, I mean, I'm a huge Knicks fan, but I've been watching a lot of Knicks games and been in a lot of Knicks spaces, but I haven't really been talking much. Just to kind of give my take on the Knicks in general. I'm happy with where they're at, 3 games above 500. I think a lot of Knicks fans have to be happy as well. I know there's a lot of talk about trading Julius that's kind of died down, but if you look at where this team was even 2 years ago, even though they were a 4 seed, they really weren't a 4 seed. And going into the playoffs this year or playing or whatnot, there's some concern in Knicks spaces about how Julius is going to perform. And to me, like, this team is set up so much better for them to succeed in any type of way because now teams can't shadow Julius. You have Jalen Brunson, RJ's playing better. And I think when you think of a rebuild, you think about getting better each year and increasing your chances of getting a star or attracting players. And the Knicks are doing that. And I think Knicks fans need to give more grace to the front office and even Thibodeau somewhat, and realize that we're actually doing it here. We're building a team that can contend maybe in a couple of years, and just have fun with this team that we're watching now. So if you're a Knicks fan below, enjoy the team. Don't get too worked up. We're going to probably be in the playoffs, maybe playing. It's a fun season. Just enjoy it.
All right, there you go. A lot of KP hate, man. Like, I got like 3 DMs like, why are you picking Porzingis?
Listen, if a Knicks fan can let go of their KP hate, then anybody else could. I don't care about KP hate.
Let it go, man. You'll feel better. We got JB Fortis up here. We have Knight and we have Micah. We'll get to them. Hit a quick read because I need to do the third one. I've only done 2. And then we'll close out with the rest of the games that we missed, and we'll talk about the games tonight. JB, go ahead. Oh, by the way, Al's down below saying NBA Twitter, don't mind him. He's trolling on MJ. I am not trolling on MJ. Way overrated, y'all. Way overrated.
You are. It's weird. What is we have this. We need a separate room to investigate your bias against Michael Jackson.
Well, one, he didn't create the moonwalk. He stole it. He stole it from a dude from the 50s. He was a tap dancer, a jazz tap dancer. He's the one who created the moonwalk. Half of the songs he does are really just like basic formulaic songs. He doesn't have depth in his writing. It's just a cornucopia of mid, right? Like, it's just mid.
Listen to him as a child. Did you see him perform live? Do you understand what you're saying?
Yes, I totally understand that. I am saying that people were duped into a large social advertising program to increase
the
fanship of Michael Jackson. Like, I totally get it.
Yeah, let's go back to the games. We will.
Right.
This is way crazy. Like,
JB Fortis.
I can't even. I have no comment on that outrageousness.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Malika. So
Stevie Wonder is better too, by the way.
It's just silly. What a silly thing to argue about. He's great, awesome. He's also dead. Like, what are you hoping to get out of this, other than to say that, like, Michael Jackson is not? You don't like Michael Jackson as much as another person. Like, who cares? Like, let him be. Let him rest in peace. I have a real question for you.
Wow, I agree with JB on something. That's wow.
The question I have actually pertains to something that we're dealing with right now. When are we done with Trae Young being a star? Like, what actually has to happen here? I literally don't know what Trae Young has to do. I don't know if he has to, like, get schooled on defense by an NBA player, get schooled on defense on a State Farm commercial, like, not perform for multiple weeks, throw a temper tantrum, not get as far in the playoffs. I mean, like, what do we have to do to recognize that this guy, particularly, I mean, forget the Eastern Conference, like, I can name 6 guards off the top that I would rather have as, like, an Eastern Conference All-Star than Trae Young. But, like, what do we have to do to
Brunson.
This guy to just, like, another point guard? Yeah, Jalen Brunson among, like, it might be number 6. But between Tyrese Halliburton, Jaylen Brown, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, like, I can keep going, dude. There's a number of guards who are better than Trae Young. My big question, hell, DeJounte Murray on his own team. My big question is, like, what do we as a community have to do to stop considering Trae Young like one of these indispensable stars? How long can he dine off of this, like, one playoff series against the Knicks before we can just knock him down, Chris?
I think the better question is Trae Young, the Michael Jackson of the NBA.
Stop
I think
it.
the answer is yes.
Wow.
Hey, don't disrespect Michael Jackson like that. At least he had a full head of hair.
So, in other words, they're both dead. They're both dead and gone. They've been dead and gone for a very long time. That's what you're saying, Chris?
So, no, what I'm saying is that when you get a media apparatus behind you and you perform in a way that draws fans to you, you get hyped up. Am I wrong there?
Yes.
Was Trae Young not hyped up? Like, they said he was the man who killed the Garden. He slayed the beast at Madison Square Garden and became the heel of the NBA. Yet, what has he really done to develop his game? That's my question, right?
Your question, my answer to that question is that, yeah, you're right in context. And specifically in context means like 3 years ago, right? Like in context, that was something that he did. But the follow-up since that event, everything that like anyone could ever ask Trae Young to like do to not be considered a star has happened. I mean, we were all in love with Jeremy Lin when he lit up the Garden, but that didn't seem to last or take off. And in the same way, by the way, Chris, a media apparatus gathered around Trae Young. The difference between Jeremy Lin and Trae Young in this particular case isn't the talent, it's the sustain that I'm arguing about. It's the sustain of like, we have to keep listening to Trae Young as like a State Farm star. We have to keep listening to, oh, well, you can't discount Trae Young. You never know what he's going to do. I'm at the point now, at least I am, but when I'm at the point where I do get to discount him. I'm done with him. And I don't understand what everybody else is waiting for to push him way the heck down.
I'm right there with you with Michael Jackson. Like, I get it.
Can I ask a question to JB?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. It sounds like you're just done with Trae Young. All right. If you was a part of the Hawks front office, who you trading Trae Young for?
You're not like the answer. Do you want it though?
Go, might as well.
Sure. I'm trading him to the Orlando Magic. I'm seeing if I can get some kind of like package around Mo Wagner and Franz Wagner to beef up my front court. And maybe if I can pry someone like a Cole Anthony as like a quasi replacement, something like that. I'm like semi interested in that. I'm desperately trying to sell the Magic on this idea of like, hey, you'd have Paolo Banchero and you'd have Trae Young, the offensive, maestro. That would be my ideal scenario. I could also see myself maybe calling, I don't know, Phoenix, right? And saying like, look, Chris Paul is aging. You already have Devin Booker. What would it be like if both players scored 40 on a given night and now you're only looking to get 80 and see what I can pry out of them? I don't think you're going to like the answers from both teams, but I do think you're going to get to have the conversation. That may not be like something you love. It's certainly not something where it's like, oh, and now the Hawks are contenders. But it is something where it's like, well, okay, I'm no longer dealing with a malcontent that can't get along with John Collins. I'm no longer dealing with a coach killer who can't get along with Nate McMillan. I'm not dealing with like people who just won't practice because, hey, man, like I don't want to practice with the team. Like all of that nonsense goes away. And I get it that like he did have the moment, much like Jeremy Lin and Linsanity. Like I understand that there was a moment. What I'm saying is that the moment has passed.
I'm mad that you trying to make him Neo instead of Michael Jackson. We really need to talk about this.
Jesus, man. Malika might be right about this Michael Jackson thing. You might need to have a separate space where we sort through these feelings.
I didn't start this.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Look, you didn't start the fire, but I mean, it was always burning. But that doesn't mean you're not the one singing about it.
Well, I mean, fires are a spectacular sight. Like they're red and orange and yellow and blue really hot, and they get really high in the air as they search for oxygen to live.
And Michael Jackson or French fries?
Young is that he's wearing a red uniform and he's still part of the fire.
Bro, Michael Jackson is synonymous with French fries, Bonkai. I'm glad you understand
No,
that.
I'm saying pick one, Michael Jackson or French fries.
And I just told you they're the same thing.
Okay, all right.
We'll go to Jasmine, Free Thug, and then Knight. And then Micah. Jasmine, go ahead.
This is a question for JB Fortis because I don't remember the other guy's name when we were having the conversation about Tatum, but weren't you one of the people that were saying that Tatum like choked in the finals and all that kind of stuff?
I mean, I wasn't because I don't think that it's all on Jason Tatum. I think that Steph Curry went super dope, but it doesn't really matter. I still think Tatum is an all-star. I think he's fine. I mean, I think he's better than fine. I think he's one of the top, 6 players in the NBA. But sure.
Okay, I'm just asking because,
no, it's fine.
It seems like you have, high expectations for a player. I understand, players are in, their 5th and 6th seasons and you want to see them produce. But, the league is stacked on a bunch of different teams. And if you don't have the right personnel on your team, like, you're just not going to win. It's not going to happen. And specifically in the East, if you don't have anybody on your team that can go up against a Giannis, a KD, or like an Embiid, you're not going to win. But I don't think that Trae Young is a sole problem in Atlanta. I think if you put the right pieces around him, like keep a DeJounte Murray, you might have to move on from Clint Capella and find you like another all-star or superstar to put like within that 4 or 5 position or however you choose. The teams are stacked. So how do you expect Trae Young to produce when the roster around him doesn't necessarily match up with the other teams that he's going up against?
I'm gonna half agree with your take, right? I agree with you that Trae Young is not the sole problem, right? I am simply saying that Trae Young is a problem, right? I am simply saying Trae Young is a problem as opposed to the sole problem, right? Even if I want to agree with you and I want to say, you know what, you need much more, you need rocket power in order to contend in the East. And what I mean by that is I mean like you can't depend on the Jalen Brunsons, Julius Randles, the Mitchell Robinsons, the RJ Barretts of the world to be the 6th seed. If you're Atlanta, you need like John Collins and Clint Capella don't hold a candle to Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson if you're a Knick. Or am I just saying that those players are the same and that the major difference is how I view Jalen Brunson versus Trae Young? Like, in other words, if I consider the rosters to be the same and I start to look at Atlanta, I should be able to come up with this idea of like, all right, you have a basic roster that should get me to 100. What is sort of what is able to help the other team? Like, what is able to get us over the hump? And even if I agree with you that Atlanta needs more superstar power, even if I agree with you that Atlanta needs to have somebody who can like score 50 and put on more offensive numbers, I still come to the same conclusion that I don't believe Trae Young to be that guy. Right. So I'm still isolating Trae Young as the problem, not the only problem, but definitely as a problem. But my question originally was just like an idea of like, I'm getting tired of like Trae Young being treated like a superstar. I don't think he's there anymore. And I'm like getting to the point where I don't even think he's a star. I think he's like a Stephon Marbury, to use a past reference. Like, good games. There are some good moments here. That's great. But like to count on him and to put him at this like elevated level, I'm getting there. I'm done with him.
Right. That's some good propaganda there. And y'all mad at me about my MJ take. This dude like literally is calling him Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin.
JB, are you an Atlanta fan?
Oh, JB's a Celtics fan.
Okay. There used to be an Atlanta fan. Okay.
All right. Vaughn, 60 seconds. Free Thug, 60 seconds. Micah, 60 seconds. Clock is on. Go.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys, man, I was about to bounce anyway, man. I got to get ready for work soon. But I just wanted to say, man, I love being on here, man. I love to hear some, from some new people that's down there. We want some new voices, everyone to voice their opinion. This is all love. At the end of the day, I know JB have kind of tripping on them. MJ stuff was crazy. But, I still got love for you, man. You feel me? I love all, everybody's doing their thing and hope everyone have a great day. Peace and love always.
You too, Vaughn. Have a good day. Free Thug, go ahead.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great. Like, it's everybody else that's having the problem.
See,
like,
man.
I'm good.
I hate coming up here and having to defend Trae Young because I shouldn't have to defend.
Go ahead. I mean, I'll give you the extra time that Vaughn gave you to go ahead and defend Trae Young, the Michael Jackson of the NBA. Oh, and he probably got a phone call. All right. We'll move on. We'll get him back.
No.
Micah.
Myself. I'm straight.
Oh, there you go. All right, cool.
No. Yeah. So I like that comparison because they're both, child prodigies that kind of like, got their status got elaborated via the media campaign and the people around them. So that, that's a very spot on comparison. And you said Mike was a top 50 artist. So yeah, Trae Young can be a top 50 NBA player when it's all said and done. I like it.
And he's a Hawks fan. He gets it.
But I think the biggest issue that everyone, including Trae Young, has to realize sometimes is that scoring is not his greatest skill. His greatest skill is facilitating offense. And these past 2 games, I think we've seen a pretty good example of that. He hasn't been the volume shooter he's normally been. And he's just trying to create the plays for his teammates. And we see John Collins' numbers go up, DeAndre Hunter, DeJounte Murray. All 4 of those guys are having great games now. And I just don't like the insinuations JB is making. That's pretty much it.
All right, I feel you, Free Thug. I think Trae Young has the ability to become one of the most prolific scorers and assist totalers in the history of the NBA. Due to volume and due to the fact that he was young coming in, he's still young now, and he's still putting up the numbers. I just think that sometimes in the NBA you have to continually develop, and I just question where his development is currently. We'll go to Micah, 60 seconds. We got Knight. I'll bring back Free Thug real quick for a quick retort. And then we've got the updated cardio rankings with Hoop Space's Ryan up here to go over them. So we'll try to keep this 60 seconds each. Micah, go ahead.
Just real quick with Trae Young. Positions are there for a reason, and the way I'm looking at Trae is he is a point guard that they're trying to force into a shooting guard role, and that's just not his role. And like you see similar with Russell Westbrook, he's a point guard. They try to force him into a shooting guard role, and it just doesn't work out. You see it go both ways for a bunch of different players. Combo guards, they try to make point guards, so on and so forth. But, yeah, that's my 60 seconds.
All right. Appreciate it, Micah. I hope you have a great day.
Can I say something to something you just said?
Sure. Go ahead.
Sometimes you have to take a stand. Sometimes you have to do a lot of, you were saying sometimes you have to take a stand. And I would be happier if Trae Young sometimes had to take a charge. I agree with you. He has to stand, as in stand in front of another player and play defense. You're right. He does have the opportunity to be one of the greatest turnstiles in NBA history. This guy gets drove on and causes more defensive problems for his teammates than anybody. I'm sure there's somebody I'm forgetting, but certainly right now in the NBA, this guy gets drove on like all the time. Other players lick their chops. Jaylen Brown loves to go at Trae Young. I can tell you that as a Celtics. I'm sorry. I'll stop. He's like a superstar. He has the potential to be one of because he's still young. Yeah, he'll always be young. His name is Trae Young. He's young. Good.
You get it. He's getting it. You will be on my side before you know it, JB. We'll go to Knight. 60 seconds.
Man, all right, so a couple of talking points. That KP All-Star thing. As a Mavericks fan, I watched this man get reduced to sitting in a corner to hit open threes. So for me to scroll down my timeline and see that he is Eastern Conference player while Luka is Western Conference player, I think he deserves that All-Star spot. As far as this Trae Young thing goes, that shit sucks for Trae Young because he's going to constantly get compared to Luka. And when you're not performing, your team fucked up. The front office chose the wrong person. And it's just not a good look for Trae Young or the Hawks right now.
I think that's also spoken from a Mavs fan who has Luka Doncic.
One last thing that I have to say, Chris, and then I will let it go. I will literally go into the listener section. Just for shits and giggles, just to see if I was right or if I was wrong, I typed in on a Google search, Trae Young takes a charge, right? And I clicked on videos. I clicked on all the different things. There are no videos of Trae Young. And then just to make sure I wasn't, being ridiculous, that I was giving him a fair shot, I went to YouTube and said Trae Young takes a charge. And there were no videos on YouTube. So before everybody gets on me, about how much I hate on Trae Young, just know that if you're looking to make the Trae Young can be a good defender argument, it's not there for you either. I went to Google and I went to YouTube to maybe get a point that maybe I'm being too harsh on him. I'm not. It's not there. Go ahead, Chris. I will drop to the listener section. But yeah,
You're good.
This turned into a rant. I just wanted to ask a question.
We will drop down to Free Thug so he can reply. The hate for Trey is avid. There's a turn. There's at least a quarter of the Atlanta Hawks fan population who is starting to scratch their heads and wondering, is this it? Is this all we got? Free Thug, what do you say to those people?
I understand, man. Like 2 weeks ago, I was saying he's like 2 bad games away from being Celtics Isaiah Thomas, and
Wow.
I understand it.
Wow.
But
wow,
you got to be sick because he just, as a Hawks fan, you just saw him lead the league in points and assists while everyone on his team was injured, and then he comes back and follows it up with a stink shot. So we're all kind of mad. But we don't give up on him. We still got hope. And I just want to comment on one thing JB said prior to his previous thing. He said that he wouldn't want Trae Young because of his bad relationship with Nate McMillan. I would like to challenge you to find 5 NBA players with a good relationship with Nate McMillan. And yeah.
Aaron Holiday, Justin Holiday, Frank Kaminsky. Like, I could keep going. Like, that ain't hard. Like, he kept people in the Pacers employed, bro, that should not have been employed.
Including himself.
There you go. Josh is up here. He heard something that piqued his interest. Bonkai's here. We'll go to them after we go to Hoop Spaces Ryan, so I make sure I get my friend in who might be up here on a time crunch. The updated cardio rankings are here. Ryan, again, congratulations on the phenomenal algorithm that you've created, a formula here. Justin Holiday, number 1, and it's by a lot. What do you got?
Yeah, we've got the updated rankings here, and I don't know what Justin Holiday is doing to deserve this, but he has been atop the leaderboard of the cardio rankings by a lot since the inception of this list. Now, we've had some movement. We've had some players actually improve, and by improve, I mean become more productive. Like Dougie McBuckets was top 5 on this list on the first time I came out with this rankings, and he's improved significantly. But we've had some other players that I know are near and dear to your heart, like Mr. PJ Tucker. He's, almost in the top 20 at this point. And I've got a question for you, Chris. Surprisingly to me, what teams do you think have the most players in the top 25 of the cardio rankings?
I would say Miami, Golden State, and Toronto.
Well, you would have been correct on one of those 3. Miami only has 1. Golden State only has 1. Toronto has 3 of the top 25.
Wow.
But the other surprising one to me was Milwaukee has 3. And Milwaukee and Toronto both have 3 each, which leads all NBA teams for the top in the top 25. And if anyone in the crowd has questions about, particular cardio rankings, I'll take those. But before I get to that, by doing cardio rankings across the league, I also get the inverse of cardio rankings, which would be the most productive players per minute. And we've got a couple teams that have 2 players each in the top 25 of the most productive players. So we've got 3 teams, Chris, each in the top 25 most productive players per minute. What 3 teams, Chris, do you think have 2 players in the top 25 most productive per minute?
Most productive per minute, top 25, I would say Denver. And wow, really? Wow. New Orleans.
Think of a Batman and Robin that are both 1A and 1B that would be really productive per minute.
Boston, Tatum and Brown.
That would have been a good guess, but that's incorrect.
Oh, wow. Harden and Embiid.
That is one of them. Philly's one of them.
All right. I really thought it was going to be like Jokic and a dude, but I guess not. I don't know. That's hard. Giannis, but like I don't Giannis and Bobby Portis.
Giannis doesn't have a partner on the list.
Okay. Yeah, I'm out. What do you got?
Do you want to let someone else take a chance? It looks like
sure.
All right, let someone else take a chance at this.
Anybody else?
You want to take a chance?
Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson for Bankai.
Nope.
Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler for the Heat for JFK.
Nope.
Trae Young and DeJounte Murray for any Atlanta fan that's still there.
Yes, that is the second one. And what do you think would be the third one?
Katie and Kyrie for Malika's Brooklyn Nets.
Incorrect. Come on, this is an obvious one, man.
I'm blanking here.
Who would I want?
AD and LeBron.
That is correct.
Oh, well, okay. So I didn't. Okay, I get it. My bad. I was trying to I was looking at injuries.
To qualify for this, they had to play in at least half the games and at least 15 minutes per game.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
All right,
AD and LeBron.
Before I bail out of here, anybody want to know any particular cardio rankings, good or bad?
All right, so this is the time that if you have a question about a player on where their cardio ranking standing is, you can go ahead and ask Ryan.
Yeah, for Julius Randle.
Go ahead, Benkai. Go ahead.
Sorry, Malika.
Just say the name. We got Randle, Malika. Who do you want?
I have a question. Chris, you always talk about PJ Tucker, but I have not heard you bring up Daniel House. So
who?
Can you eat Daniel House?
Who?
Why are you acting like you don't know who I'm talking about?
He's doing it on purpose.
Why don't you ever mention him instead of PJ Tucker? You talk about PJ Tucker like every day, you know what I mean? But
I had to watch 26 minutes of PJ Tucker last night, Malika. Do you know how many minutes of Daniel House I had to watch? 0.
Oh, he's barely on the floor. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because like I remember early in the season, I said that there was a power struggle, and what Doc Rivers is doing is playing the players that Mr. Morey picked up and making it, his statement saying this isn't going to work. Since then, Matisse Thybulle's got more run. Korkmaz, Niang, Shake Milton, and Daniel House has went from 23 minutes per game to like 9. Somehow, though, PJ Tucker gets 26 minutes of 0 points and 4 boards per game. Drives me crazy. Julius Randle, Ryan, and then we got Josh. Maybe he has a player he wants to know about.
All right, Julius Randle's cardio ranking is, I'll tell you the players around him. He is ranked similarly to Bam Adebayo, Jaylen Brown, DeJounte Murray, and Devin Booker in terms of how much he runs and how much he produces. He is ranked right around number 25 in terms of 25th best in the league.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
I kept trying to tell people Julius Randle's an all-star, and they were laughing at me. Even Knicks fans were laughing at me.
That is absolutely all-star status.
Yeah. Josh, you have a player you want to know?
Julius was the player I wanted to know, so I kept quiet.
Oh, cool. All right.
But Ryan, why is Daniel House on this list if he barely steps on the court? I'm confused.
Daniel House is 29 games, 17.4 minutes per game.
Yeah, they front-loaded his minutes. He was at around 18 to 20, and then he's gone down ever since. Thank goodness. Daniel House.
And he's getting 2 rebounds, less than 1 assist, and 5 points in those minutes.
Gosh. He and PJ Tucker are combining to cost us $14 million a year.
Money well spent.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Morey.
You said the House one was a surprise because all Chris talks about his timeline in Hoops Faces is PJ Tucker. So that's why.
But it's pain, Malika. It's pain. Like, I don't think people understand. We are literally playing 4-on-5 on offense. There has not been a game the Sixers have played 5-on-5.
At least he has a cool sneaker collection.
Yeah, and hats. Great.
I mean, you could say the same thing about the Lakers when Patrick Beverley is on the floor.
Yeah, but like at least Patrick Beverley doesn't look like he's lost. Like, have you ever seen PJ Tucker when a play doesn't go his way? He brings up his hands up under his chin, right? And that flayed out who, me, what type of way. You know what I'm talking about? And then he gives you the incredulous look, and you're like, yo, if you look up at the replay, you would take yourself out the game.
Chris, you know what's the funniest part? You're absolutely right. When I went to the Christmas Day game, he was doing the same exact look, and I saw it in person.
Yes. It does, like, he does it when he accidentally does something well. He does this look because he's shocking himself. Like, anyway, I digress. If you guys want to have a wonderful time, go watch PJ Tucker play basketball because it's outstanding. We have 15 minutes left. We got some other teams we have yet to cover, which is a shame.
I have one last thing to leave with.
Yeah.
Because I know there was a big Luka and the Mavs talk earlier. I just prepared this for this. Luka has a really high cardio score because he's very productive. He's at 17.5. All of the other qualified Mavericks, their average score is a 5. 1/3 of his productivity average. Just to throw that out there.
Yeah, they need help. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you shoot Ryan a follow. These cardio rankings are going to take storm across the NBA. They're probably going to be stolen. Maybe some legal work would have to be done to keep it protected. Games that we did not go over because of whatever reason, we're running out of time. We have 15 minutes remaining. The Atlanta Hawks beat the Kings 120-117. I think we kind of talked about this enough via talking Trae Young. And I will say this. It's funny how John Collins, when he gets shots and makes them, the Hawks are good. But it's really funny when Trae Young takes shots and John Collins gets no shots and the Hawks are not good. I've been saying that all year as well. It's really funny how that works. Shout out to Domantas Sabonis, 20 points, 14 boards, 8 assists. I've never fractured or broken a finger. I've done a toe, 2 toes. He is playing through an avulsion fracture. He cannot get surgery to fix it because he'll miss extended time. This is painful. This is like literally every time the ball hits the hand is literally re-aggravating the injury. And he's still out there playing 40 minutes, putting out fantastic numbers. Harrison Barnes, 22 points. De'Aaron Fox, 25. Fear the Turtle, Kevin Huerter, 24. Just not enough for the Kings to overcome the Hawks. Trailblazers lose to the Timberwolves in a game that just had me scratching my head. Lillard was fine, wonky shooting. Grant scored well. Simons had a marginal night, but they need a trade if they want to bounce back and try to push, because I don't think Nurk now fits this offense. Like Josh Hart and Nurk, for essential purposes, play the same rebounding position. So like even Josh Hart can't do what Josh Hart did in NOLA because he has to make room for Nurk and Grant. I actually kind of want to see what Toronto is doing implemented in Trailblazers. Maybe they can get more wide open in a fast-paced offense. Shout out to rookie Shaedon Sharpe, 5 for 7 off the bench. A good performance and an unheralded rookie. Think dude's going to be good quicker than a lot of people realize. We're still waiting for D'Angelo Russell to load. 9 points, 26 minutes, 1 for 6. Like, it is what it is. He is who he is. We'll see where he ends up. Rudy Gobert, 17 and 12. Anthony Edwards, 32. I think he had 12 or 13 in the fourth quarter alone. You had a Luka Garza sighting. I was big on Luka Garza coming out of Iowa. People said he's slow. He can't do anything, yet he goes 5 for 5 for 14. All I said is he'd be a really, really good backup. And it's good to see a former player of the year who didn't really get any chance to try to get some minutes. He only got those minutes because Naz Reid is out with a injury and an illness. And I'm also kind of expecting Naz Reid to be traded. So there you go. The Rockets and the Pelicans played. Sorry to the Pels fans that we weren't able to get up here and spew the goodness of CJ McCollum. But like, let's be honest, it was the Rockets. And if you watched any part of that game, you walked away feeling absolutely horrible for Jabari Smith Jr., who was 3 for 10, 14 points, 13 rebounds. And I say again, maybe y'all hear me this time, Jabari Smith Jr. has the highest ceiling on the Rockets. It's not close. It's not. They need to hire a coach who understands this and start building an offense around him because he's good. He's better than Jalen Green, I think. It's my personal opinion. But you'll see Jalen Green more because he's a wing who has the ball in his hand a lot. The issue is, once again, Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green look like the same player. They combined for 9 for 26, 27 points, 9 assists, which would be awesome if that was one player. But because they have to share the ball, they get this horrible, horrible offense. Shout out Eric Gordon. 13 points and a whole bunch of misery. Kenyon Martin Jr., 7 for 7 off the bench. The Pelicans, without Zion and B.I., every starter got double figures except for Herb Jones, who had 9 points. Man, they killed on the free throws with 88.5%. They didn't need Trey Murphy III to shoot lights out. He had a very poor shooting night from deep, 2 for 8. Willie Hernan-Gomez off the bench, 14 and 7. And Jose Alvarado will be the good feel story that will not die. I remember watching him at Georgia Tech. I loved him then. I love him now. Dude's just a player. He reminds me of T.J. McConnell, but slightly better offensively. And I'm a huge T.J. McConnell fan. And then the one game that we didn't talk about because, like, to be honest, I don't think it really means that much. The Bulls beat the Nets 121-112. Shout out to Patrick Williams. Had his best game of the season. And arguably, one of the better games of his injury-laden early career. 22 points for him, 22 for DeRozan, Vucevic with 21 and 13, who surprisingly is actually having a phenomenal season. Statistically, Zach LaVine, 13 points, Ayo Dosunmu, 17. And I want to say, I believe this is the first time where Zach LaVine had less points than every other Chicago Bulls starter. And if we had time, we can get into that. It's rough out there in Chicago. However, they are now 17 and 21, trending up. There you go. We got 9 minutes. I'm going to go to JB Fortis first, and we'll go ahead and go around the room for final takes. JB, go ahead.
So I want to point out, I just read a Bleacher Report that the Cavs are interested in acquiring Bojan. I haven't thought all of this through. I don't know what they would have to give up. I admit that I haven't thought about what's going to be going out in a Bojan Bogdanovic trade. I'm going to assume for the moment that it's not Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, or Donovan Mitchell. And my question to you and to the entire room is that in the event they manage to keep Cedi Osman, and maybe Isaac Okoro, but much more if they manage to keep Cedi Osman, does an acquisition of Bojan Bogdanovic put this team in your mind at the Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Boston level in the Eastern Conference? Because right now I think that they're a wing short, but adding someone like in other words, what I'm asking is, does Bojan solve their wing issues, or do you think that they're still just too short?
They'll have one of the best starting fives, but I still think they're short on the bench. And more than likely, it would be Karis LeVert with his expiring, with probably Isaac Okoro instead of Giddey, because Giddey does 3 and 4 off the bench, and Isaac can really only play the 3 or the 2. So it's a great question. If they do, there's another team that I really want to see Bojan on, but it's just not going to happen.
Who is it?
The Sixers.
Oh, well, I think Cedi does a lot for the Cavaliers. I imagine that if you had that cardio guy back up here, that he would tell you that I was right about that. When I watch Cedi, he does a lot of different things, and so I would hope that they would keep him. I don't think Caris LeVert is, a big difference maker. I'm not. I mean, again,
well, it's a salary issue.
I don't want to dominate. I'll give everybody else final thoughts. I'm sorry. I think that there's more of a discussion to be had when playoff rotations shorten and you're looking at 8, 9 people, and your starting 5 is Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, and now your 5th person is Bojan, and maybe your 6th is Cedi. I think that's good. I think that's solid. I know it's
that is. I don't like, if Milwaukee's healthy, they've got 8. If Brooklyn's healthy, they have 8. If they do this trade and Cleveland's healthy, they have 7. And can the 7-man rotation that's going to rely on Giddey and Kevin Love And then with their eighth man being a returning Ricky Rubio off an ACL injury, I don't know. I just don't know. And then also that doesn't take into effect that Darius Garland doesn't necessarily stay healthy either. He's out currently. We'll go to Micah. Micah, last take of the day.
Last take of the day. You know what? We didn't get to discuss it much, but I watched that game. That officiating between Brooklyn and Chicago was absolutely atrocious. I don't know how many and-one opportunities that were not called. So, hey, stuff happens though, right?
Oh yeah, KD got mugged.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 times. Yeah, so Kyrie did too. So yeah, nasty work. But they'll be all right. And yeah, last take of the day, we're going to help them out a little bit when we take down Boston. So there you go. That's my last take.
All right, there you go. Make sure you guys check in to 77 Spaces tonight, 1 hour before tip-off. Go ahead and talk Celtics and Mavs and really get into who's better, Luka or Jason. I've got Luka. I don't think it's actually as close as a lot of people argue, but that's why we have these spaces. So make sure you shoot Jose and Rolo and Jazz a follow and hop in there. And by the way, I dropped the Michael Jackson in the Dallas Mavericks chat, and they are going off. We'll go to Night. Last take of the day.
I didn't really have a take. What was the question?
Oh no, this is the time where you just give your last take. There is no question.
Oh, well,
so if you didn't have one, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Make sure you go to 77 Spaces tonight. We'll go to Jasmine next. Jasmine, last take of the day.
I was away from my phone, so I didn't see who said it about Dallas beating Celtics tonight. That's cute. I'm going to try to tune into 77 Spaces before the game so I can just hear all the banter. I'm not one to say that Tatum or Brown are better than Luka. Like, it's very obvious who's the better one and who's having a better MVP run right now, but it still goes to East.
All right. Appreciate it. Anything you want to let us know about what you're working on?
Yeah, so the WNBA season tips off in May. So starting probably within the next couple of weeks, we're going to be dropping content about free agency that we have coming up, WNBA draft picks. We're definitely going to have some spaces about what's to come with this coming season, and also just some conversations about the different things going on with the leagues and the different topics going around, whether the WNBA is profitable, marketable, things like that. So just stay on the lookout. Follow me. I try to follow everybody back. And yeah, that's it.
All right. Definitely worth a follow, everybody. And what is the actual free agency opening date?
Yeah. So let me pull it up really quickly so I can make sure I get the dates right. Right now, the window for qualifying offers and core designations is January 11th to the 20th, so it starts next week. The negotiating period starts on January 21st. That's when you're going to see a lot of our content come out during that week. And then contracts and offer sheets can be signed starting in February.
All right, there you go, ladies.
Is around April.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We are ramping up for WNBA action. We will cover it here. And you can actually read words and listen to better voices such as Jasmine and the likes of other great WNBA Twitter creators. So make sure you shoot her a follow. JF, last take of the day.
Yeah, Chris, just want to give a shout out to Victor Oladipo. Last 3 games, 30-plus minutes, been shooting at least 40% better. So I think he might just about be back, Chris. So shouts out to him.
All right. Shout out to him. I hope so. I even saw him go left a couple of times, which is a good sign. We'll go to Bonkai. Bonkai, last take of the day.
Yes, sir. Since we were talking about Trae Young, I just want to say the King of Broadway, he had the audacity to wear those sneakers a couple of weeks ago at the Garden. Yikes, man. But I'll just say, we play the Toronto Raptors tomorrow, 3-game win streak on the line. And last time they broke our 8-game win streak. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. I hate playing against the Raptors and Nick Nurse because they're always scheming. He always has some defensive scheme up his sleeve, especially when he's, having to go against Julius and Jalen Brunson. He's just like a mastermind with those little schemes. That's it.
All right. Appreciate it.
Play against. Appreciate you guys.
All right. I hope you have a good birthday month if you're one of those people who celebrates birthday months. I don't. It's very much similar to two-team fandom for me, but I know some of y'all do. I don't know why.
Nah, I don't. It's just my family's coming over to the new apartment to celebrate on Sunday. That's just because the scheduling and everybody has their own lives.
I'm literally talking about the people who say it's my birthday month. Like, it ain't your birthday month. It's you get a birthday. That's why they call it a birthday, not a birth month.
Birthday, yeah.
Yeah. Josh Rodriguez of The Dime, ladies and gentlemen, with Josh Rodriguez. That's the name. You can catch it where all your podcast pods. You can follow them at The Dime NBA. It's on Ball is Life. Totally worth the time to listen and follow. Josh, final take.
I have a few. One, happy belated Bankai. I didn't wish you a happy birthday, but definitely one of my favorite follows here on Twitter. If you guys don't follow Bankai, follow him right now. He's funny, he's hilarious, and he's a Knicks fan. 2, Jalen Brunson is an all-star. 3, Nets losing to the Bulls last night wasn't a big deal. I think they've turned the corner, and I think they're the best team in the East and probably will win the East. It's amazing what a head coaching change can do and what no drama can do for a team. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is right around the corner, so I would be nervous if I'm a Nets fan because there'd be microphones in Kyrie's face, but that's another thing to be discussed another day. And for this Trae Young, Michael Jackson thing is absolutely ridiculous. Yes, he was hyped up in college like Michael was hyped up in Jackson 5. He came onto the scene. That could be his off the wall, but call me when he has a thriller, when he has a bad, when he has a dangerous, when he wins multiple championships. Until then, he is nowhere near Michael Jackson. So please stop this propaganda, Chris. Please. I beg you.
Oh, wow. So you're saying he's Tito?
He's not even close to Michael. Not even close.
Wow.
LaToya.
Homie is Joe Jackson.
Man. Malika, what do we got for your final take?
Final take, Jasmine, looking forward to your coverage of free agency coming up. I'm really going to be watching and subscribing, like literally notifications. I really want to know.
Thank you.
I also wanted to say real quick, I thought it was disgusting the way that First Take covered Dana White slapping his wife. I put out a tweet today, and I am aware that his wife slapped him first, but I don't believe a man's reaction should be to slap her. And
I had no idea that happened.
And I wanted to say real quick that violence is wrong against any sex. I'm not advocating that a man should be slapped. What I'm saying is there's a way it could have been handled to lower the toxicity of the situation. And I just wanted to say that real quick. And this is an awkward transition, but Tuesday I will be discussing Dr. J and showing him his respect and love. And Rels, we play you tomorrow. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to that matchup, even though Zion won't be. I wish he was playing. But that's it. One love, Chris, and stop it. That nobody on that tweet you put out on Trae Young and Michael Jackson even understands where you're going with it, because they don't understand your bias against Michael Jackson. Neither do I.
All right. Well, I mean, if they don't understand fact, when fact hits them in the face, I don't really know what to do with that. It's hard. It's really hard. The news coming out right before we close out, the Lakers, LeBron James, and the Nets, Kevin Durant, lead the NBA All-Star voting in the first returns. Giannis, Joel, Jason, Jimmy, Pascal, Kyle Kuzma, Paolo Banchero, Nick Claxton, Jared Allen for the front court are your top 10. Kyrie, Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Jaylen Brown, Trae Young, DeMar, LaMelo, Tyrese Halliburton, Derrick Rose, and Darius Garland are your guards in the East. We'll break this down later. LeBron, Jokic, AD, Zion, Andrew Wiggins, Paul George, Lauri Markkanen, Draymond Green, Kawhi Leonard, and Kevon Looney your front court Western leaders. Shout out to Kevon Looney. I hope he gets in. That would be dope. Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, SGA, which means SGA wouldn't be a starter. He's not. Klay Thompson, Russell Westbrook, Damian Lillard, Devin Booker, Austin Reeves, and Jordan Poole, your top 10 guards of the Western Conference.
Boston about to go crazy with voting for Jason Tatum. You know that's that's about
Definitely.
to be.
Yeah, I dislike the way that they took away some of the fan votes, but I totally get it because apparently they don't want like K-pop fans to be NBA fans. That's how I view it. My final take of the day is like there was a lot of basketball last night. It's real hard to watch the entire league on a night-to-night basis, right? So what we've been able to create here is something that I think should be reveled in. Like we're able to come together and talk about all games in a way that I think is missing in modern coverage, right? And I am specifically alluding to what has happened on Undisputed over the last few weeks regarding Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless, and even to a lesser degree what Stephen A. Had gone through in the beginning of the year. It's easy to lose yourself in light, right? Just imagine the last time that you had lights on in front of you and you had to produce something for other people, whether it's a performative act, whether it's a meal because you're a chef, whether it's because you're an artist and you're painting. The added pressure of being seen and increases that, and oftentimes you can allow that lost time to alter who you are, right? That makes it very easy to do what happened with Undisputed and Skip Bayless. I don't watch the NFL. I personally have walked away from the NFL. I've talked about it before. My issue is with the way that they treated the players in regards to hiding concussions. I equate it to the same thing as cigarette companies lying about cancer and the direct link. And I also did not like the way that they handled Colin Kaepernick. That being said, I do think that there are times that we also have to highlight the good. The coaches for both the Bills and the Bengals listened to the players, and they were not going to go out and play because that was the right thing to do. And hopefully, because the league and the teams eventually did the right thing, maybe the likes of Skip Bayless can too. Now, maybe he doesn't because he's old, but maybe he can, and we should allow him the opportunity to earn that grace back. Because to be honest, what he said in that tweet to me was a fireable offense. That's just my opinion. If you have an opinion, feel free to share it on Twitter. That's what Twitter is here for. I want to say thank you to everybody who's popped in here. And as the music plays, we can now thank our sponsors, slamgoods.com. I put the tweet out on my timeline. I forgot to put it up here in the big board. And that's just really because I try to do a good job answering DMs, trying to get, the engagement to let you know that even though you're not up on stage, you're a part of us here on Hoop Spaces. But what we did put out was this phenomenal cover, right? It's phenomenal. You have to go check it out. It's Nafisha Collier holding her beautiful, gorgeous baby while in uniform. Like there's an equity in life in all things, but we can actually purposely be better. So when I say, hey, follow Jasmine, learn to love the game because it's just basketball. And oftentimes it can be better. All right. That's how I'm going to close out. See you tomorrow, 10 a.m.
Before you go, please vote for Shea Gilchrist Alexander.
No, I will